Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude 79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague and renowned piece of shit, Mr. Fanboy Tone. Mr. Fanboy Tone, who are you going to call, baby?
The Ghostbusters?
The Ghostbusters.
Oh.
It's Ghostbusters week, man.
It is. I am stoked.
Yes.
I was
Tomorrow
watching
night.
the premiere stuff, the photos from that, all that sort of stuff. Very, very excited.
Yeah, dude, I am ready to go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire tomorrow night. We're going to go check it out, 8 p.m. showing, because they didn't have anything earlier that made sense.
Holy crap. What was that spread?
Yeah, dude, it was like 5 p.m., which is like not ideal. I mean, I could have made it by the skin of my teeth from work, but not the best time. Usually we have like a 7 o'clock window.
Squeeze that in.
Yeah, now we're doing it 8 o'clock. Kong vs. Godzilla, that's next week. Really excited for that. Jeff, what's going on? 7 Dungeons, thanks for that raid. Mr. Lathis, there's another fellow diver. We spread managed democracy across the galaxy.
I'm just spreading booty cheeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you. Hey, something's got to be spread. Tone's going to be there to spread it. But no, man, I'm missing Helldivers too. It's been I tried playing last night. I wanted to hop on with Jackson because I knew he was trying out some of the new because we had a patch come out yesterday, and I wanted to get on there and check it out. But for whatever reason, my PSN was not working. I had major issues last night where and I don't know if it was Spectrum related because of the internet or
I wonder.
It was bad.
Because what was it? Was it last night that Britt was having? She was having issues still with COD last night.
Yeah, I couldn't. I tried logging into Helldivers 2, and I couldn't even get past like the black screen when you first load the game. Like I couldn't get into it, and then I was like, "Well, fuck this." And then when I looked up in the corner, it showed my icon, and there was that green dot like you're online. And then when I clicked on that, it said offline. And I was like, "What the hell?" And so I went over to Call of Duty. And at first it said error, and I was like, oh, damn it. Okay. I was like, okay, must be my internet.
Yep.
And then I tried it again, and it loaded me into the game. I was like, oh, cool. And then when I tried to hit go online, I said error, and I couldn't get in.
Yeah, she was having those issues.
So I don't know if it was a Spectrum thing or if it was a PlayStation Network thing, but I was able to finally get in like 11:30, and I was just like, okay, dude. So I did one drop, and I was like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they got it. I'm glad they got it sorted, but that was pissing me off. Man, I haven't had an issue like that in a while.
I feel like Spectrum has been running like shit
Everything
week or so.
was a hot mess. So that's why at first I thought it was Spectrum because I couldn't update a couple things on the laptop.
Had to been then.
So I don't know what it was, but it was super fucking annoying. Now, seriously, last time I was like, going, man, please don't start doing this shit before night before a show. I don't want to have to fuck around with all that stuff.
Right.
But no, man, I wish I was spreading some democracy. We had a patch come out yesterday. They've done some back end stuff to fix the friends list tonight that they're trying to work on. They're slowly making progress. They're slowly making progress, trying to get that game to where it needs to be. But like I said, man, it's a game that's so fucking fun to play. It's like I am when you're willing to overlook and endure the launch issues that they've endured because you want to play the game. That says everything you need to know about the gameplay itself.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, I just want to keep playing this game, even if it's not working all the time, and I got to deal with some bullshit. I just want to play the game. So, but Tom, let's go with you, man. What's new? What's new with the house?
Well, the last major move was completed this last weekend.
Yes.
So that was great. I'm, of course, limited in what I can do when you have 2 torn biceps. It's really hard to when you get your arm extended, I can't bend.
Oh, jeez.
With weighted things in my arms. So, yeah, she is officially fully moved in.
She's officially in, which means she's officially in charge.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe at the top level.
She's
level.
Upper management, bro.
Once you go into
she's CEO, you're bitch.
The dungeon.
Congratulations.
I'm getting a girls not allowed for the basement door. So
whoa.
Oh
man.
Really? Oh, tell us their Twitch bot exactly.
We won't have any of that nonsense.
What I can do to get extra promotion for my channel.
Unless you come in here giving me the winning numbers for either the Mega Millions and or the Powerball.
Yeah.
No interest in what you have to sell.
See you later,
dude.
alligator.
Did you see what that thing's up to now?
What is it?
I think the Mega Millions is up to 975 million.
Okay.
And the Powerball is at like 685 million.
I could build at least half a Death Star with one of those.
I am playing every night this week. And the thing is, man, like Anderson has done really well when we go to source. Sometimes he likes scratch offs.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we'll say, okay, which one do you feel? And he'll point at 2 and be like, all right, cool. And like more often than not, he's won like $30-$40.
Oh, great. You got Rain Man with you.
So like, all right. So now we're like,
Right,
okay,
rounders.
pick the numbers.
Right,
Mega
right.
Millions. And no, he hasn't won us anything yet in the Mega Millions, but we're hoping. There they are. There's the winning numbers right there. Trick is sharing the winning digits.
Trick.
16, 24. You're missing a number and the Powerball though. So you got 45. Okay, and the Powerball number. If he says 27, I know he's lying.
Is this real right now?
Yeah, he's on the top up here.
No, I mean, are these numbers that just dropped today?
No. The drawing's not till 11. He's telling us what the numbers.
Oh,
are.
he's got you.
Those are the winning numbers.
Like,
What can I do to get on the Banter and Babble OF page? It's not what you can do; it's what we can do for you, for our page.
speak for yourself.
Yeah, it gets Tone does some really sick shit for the right amount of pennies.
Hey, speaking of which, we
Yeah.
had a trick actually. Did you get the PayPal earlier
I
for
did.
me?
Wait, what PayPal money?
For tomorrow?
I did for the tricks pictures.
Yeah. I wanted to be more graphic, but I'm like, the bank statements. I don't know who's gonna see that.
Yeah. No, I do. Whenever I send the wife money on Venmo, I put some sick twisted shit. And
Yeah.
I make sure it's set to public,
Mhm.
so like her coworkers and her
Yeah.
friends can all see it.
Yeah, I do the same shit. So when I send stuff, usually it's for dillies, hand jobs. My old roommate, I used to write on the checks for used dildos and shit. Like he'd have to go to cash that at the bank and see that. But today on PayPal, I said thanks for the trick pictures. And I was gonna do nudes, but I didn't know who was gonna see it. So.
Dude, I sent a Venmo payment to my wife, and I said for the Gluck. And man, there was one person that responded. I can't remember if it was one of my friends or one of her friends that goes, "Oh my God, really?" I mean, she earned it, man.
Yeah,
she's earning the payment.
She's earning that
For
payment.
that Gluck.
Yeah, for the double Dutch rudder. That's, I don't know, man. These arms are broken these days. I don't know if my rotator cuff keep up with that, but why not, right? How does one do a double Dutch rudder? Is that like if you're sitting next to me and then you're sitting next to dude? So like, or is that no? That'd be like triple. So like. Somebody was that who's in the middle? Is that a double Dutch rudder?
They're the one doing the
You're
ruddering.
doing a rudder. Somebody's doing a rudder.
I'm on the outside enjoying the ruddering.
What if you're okay? Don't wait. No, or is it just somebody who's grabbing two different people's arms and doing the ruddering?
I don't know, Jeff. We're gonna need a video.
Yeah, I need some
description.
context. Yeah, video.
Yeah, I need an explanation video detailing
Right.
how to do a double
How
Dutch
does
rudder.
one do a double Dutch rudder? Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's you send us that video of you doing it, and we will post that on the B&B OF page
for science.
That's how you get on the B&B
There you
OF
go.
page, providing content such as that.
Yes, absolutely.
It's where you grab. Oh, I can't read that.
Okay,
But thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate.
I'm glad that for once you can.
Man, he
choose
came
your-
in hot with the detail.
Yeah.
Like he clearly experienced.
He was ready. He was ready. He thought the Midland Mall Comic Con experience was gonna be a little different.
Yeah, a lot different. Than
Maybe
what-
next year. We'll talk. What about you? So that's what I mean, I don't have no time to play games. I haven't had time for shit. The big organizing starts this weekend. Like, I'll be honest, I've kind of been like, just like putting stuff in the satellite areas and not really doing a whole lot of stuff. I got the entertainment area pretty much all set, but this weekend will be the weekend of like really truly like putting stuff on shelves. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've just been kind of a piece of shit this week.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like really doing anything.
Yeah, that sounds
like even on Monday, dude. On Monday I went to bed. Monday and Tuesday I went to bed at like ridiculously early hours.
Which is like for you, 1 o'clock?
No, dude. I went to bed at 10 one night and 11 the next, which is like really early.
That's weird for you.
That's really early because usually I'm like a 1 o'clock guy, and I'll
2, 3
wake up
o'clock
the next
in the morning.
be like,
I was
"What the
playing my
fuck?
game last
I'm
night."
so mad. I'm pissed about it, but
Yeah.
no, I haven't really been playing much. Dude, I'm actually kind of like in this weird place right now with video games
Mm-hmm.
because this week there were 3 titles coming out this week. I was like, what? There's like one game that I wanted to get.
Appreciate that, Jason.
I needed a new single player game. And this week we got 3 of them dropping.
Mm-hmm.
We had Alone in the Dark with David Harbour and Jodie Comer.
Yeah.
We had Dragon's Dogma 2,
Which is reviewing well, isn't
which
it?
is reviewing incredibly well. And then Rise of the Ronin,
Mm.
which drops on Friday along with Dragon's Dogma 2. And I've been like, man, what fucking game do I want? What is my next single player endeavor going to be? I need something to complement Helldivers 2 because that's all I'm playing is fucking Helldivers 2 multiplayer, and I'm fine with that. So we have these 3 games coming out this week, and I put out a poll on both X and Facebook asking people, like, what are you guys picking up? What do people think? What should I get? You know, and I had various reasons about why, like, I wasn't ready to jump on all 3 of these games. Alone in the Dark, there wasn't a whole lot of previews for that, and there wasn't a lot of buzz building for it. And lo and behold, that thing came out. I think it's had like a 60 or a 61 on Metacritic. Just not a great experience. So I'm not going to pay $70 for that. I'll hold off on that, even though it sounds, like I love Jodie Comer and David Harbour. I was like, man, it's probably going to be pretty good. Lo and behold, not all that great. And so next up was like Dragon's Dogma 2. But during the preview period for Dragon Dogma 2, a lot of the previewers mentioned that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X version is an uncapped frame rate that hovers around 30 FPS.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that, yeah.
Now, look, I am not an FPS. I love 60 FPS, don't get me wrong, but I will play a game at 30 FPS if it's a capped,
station, yeah.
very consistent, smooth 30. You can have Destiny 2 showed me you can have a smooth 30 frame game when that first came out. I was like, okay, cool, I can get down with this. I'm not too picky about it. But when you get to uncapped, and that thing is fluctuating all over the place, that's when I feel like you really notice when a game has like frame pacing issues and it's juddery, especially when the combat ramps up. You don't want it to be like all chugging and shit.
Right.
And so there was a lot of comments from the previewer saying that the console versions were hovering around 30 FPS, a lot of dips into the sub-30s. And I was just like, I don't want to experience this massive open world RPG with this what looked to be very, very good combat if the performance is going to be
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't know about that one. And then Rise of the Ronin, we've been talking about that for the last couple months. It looks really good. The combat looks really good. But I am at this place, man, where I just would rather have Ghost of Tsushima 2. But this is not like Ghost of Tsushima. I actually read another article that kind of went into the combat and the different ways that it varies from Ghost of Tsushima 2. And by all accounts, I think this is going to be ultimately the game I'm going to pick up. I think Dragon's Dogma 2 reviewing incredibly well. It sounds like it's a major step up from the first one. But I'm going to wait for that down the line for maybe get some optimization. Maybe a couple patches comes out and kind of cleans up that frame rate, makes it more consistent with 30, or even just put a fucking cap on it. Just cap that bitch at 30.
Right.
I don't need it to go into the 40s in certain instances. So I think right now, unless the reviews come out for Rise of the Ronin and they're terrible tomorrow, that's going to probably be the game I'm going to pick up because I do love a good like Japanese like RPG. Yeah. So I can get down on that. I hope it's good, but that is ultimately the one I'm going to get. But I know, like, man, the reviews for Dragon Dogma 2 is really good. Like, there are a lot of buzz about that. But, of course, as soon as I see all those reviews come out, reviewed on PC, I'm like, okay.
Right.
We're talking about that. But I don't know, man. Other than that, I haven't been doing a whole lot. Like I said, just getting ready for Ghostbusters. We've got a bunch of movies, actually, we're going to be watching the next couple of weeks. I mean, this weekend we got Ghostbusters. We also have Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal. That drops on Amazon Prime. We also know on Netflix that
Roadhouse.
Three-Body Problem from D.B. Weiss and the showrunners from Game of Thrones from HBO.
Kristen Stewart, right?
What's that?
Kristen Stewart?
Yes. Yep. Well, no. Kristen Stewart's done that.
Which one am I thinking?
You're thinking of the Love Bleeding movie. That one is in theaters. This is the series on Netflix.
Yes, the series.
So
my bad.
Really excited for that to drop. I'll probably be checking that out this weekend, and then obviously whatever game I pick up, that's what I'll be talking about next week. So we'll have a packed show next week before we go see Godzilla and Kong on Thursday night. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about next week. But I don't know, Tone. I mean, you got anything else?
I mean, I just hope. I mean, I guess we got 2 or 3. I mean, we even could potentially see that Monkey Man. We wanted to see the following week
it's on
as
April
well
5th,
too.
yeah.
If we're able to hit that up as well, but I just with Kong and Godzilla next week, I really just hope to get the genitalia right finally. Like it's just been something they have been missing with Kong the entire time. So that's all.
I'm not surprised that that's your number one concern going into it. When there's plenty of other concerns.
A big monkey that big should have massive balls. That's all I'm saying. And I haven't seen
he
hide
just
nor
wants
hair.
to see the junk.
Where's he putting them?
I mean, maybe tucks them back.
I mean, that's not comfortable when you're punching Godzilla, I suppose.
Is anyone else's stream freezing up? I hope not. I'm looking down. I see no drop frames.
Well, Michigan's internet has not been too kind to us.
It's cold on Skull Island, so Jeff. That's why his back up.
So it's a grower, not a shower. I understand how that works.
But hopefully the stream is okay for everybody else. I do know sometimes stream can be a little bit wonky. You might have to just like close your Twitch and bring it back up. That could be the problem, or maybe just stop using your neighbor's internet. I mean, that could be an issue.
Tell me what to do.
What? You would be a piece of shit.
No.
We do have a light show tonight. Don't have a terrible amount of topics like we normally do, but there's some good conversations we had nonetheless, especially a very nasty nasty meme debate to close the show on that I feel like is going to drum up a lot of conversation, especially for wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to want to stick around for the meme debate at the end of the show. It's going to be pretty heated. But Tone, let's get to our first topic.
Yeah.
We have a movie review. Adam Sandler's Spaceman, which is available now on Netflix, came out a couple weeks ago. We ran the trailer about a month or two ago, and we were like, man, this actually looks pretty decent. There's a lot of potential here. It's got Adam Sandler in another dramatic role. He's paired up with Carey Mulligan, another really good actress, and it's directed by John Rank, who directed several episodes of HBO's Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this sci-fi introspective movie, and with a talented cast and a good director at the helm, I mean, what could go wrong, right?
Right.
Movie comes out a couple weeks ago. Didn't do great with reviews. It's very kind of like divisive almost. There's some really high reviews, and there's some very low reviews.
Makes sense.
And a lot of stuff, and a little bit in between. Very typical for an Adam Sandler film, but even more so like some of his dramatic stuff. But Tone, I want to come to you first, and obviously I know Britt has some comments. I want to hear Britt's comments in the chat. And if anyone else has seen this movie, let us know in the comments what you thought of it. But Tone, coming to you first, man. Spaceman.
Yeah.
What do you think?
First of all, it's a gorgeous film.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely gorgeous. Even the fact that one of the main characters is a 8-legged demon, as you will.
Yeah, there he is.
Right.
Hanush.
It's just it's visually pleasing. I feel like this movie. Let me try to see how I want to say this. So, I understand why it's divisive because I feel like, especially in this day and age, sometimes, when you watch these movies, you're trying to escape. You want something that's kind of easy to intake, swallow.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get this movie, a movie like this, where it's not like other thinking movies necessarily, where you're trying to cerebrally figure things out or anything. This one is literally like challenging you almost, like really getting you to kind of open up and think, be introspective, kind of reflect. I don't want to jump into too fast on some of the movies that this gives me vibes on, but there are some a movie in particular that's kind of giving me a little bit of vibes of as well too. But this also still stands alone on its own legs as well too, all 8 of them even. But as I'm watching this and I'm listening to the things that's going on with Adam and who he's talking to, and there's always going to be a question of, is it or isn't it kind of thing as well too. And I don't want to spoil too much of that, but by the time you get to the end of the movie, you've gone on quite a journey that I feel like is very existential, and that's kind of rare sometimes in movies these days. We get a lot of great A24 cerebral thinking movies these days where, it wants you to think, it wants to challenge your thought, it wants to leave you, trying to figure out and pondering where is this movie is going to probably grab your heartstrings or whatever it might be and just make you feel some kind of way. And I can tell you by sitting on the couch next to somebody in the chat that it definitely made somebody feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to see that because, I sometimes I think she may or may not have been sobbing. She's a little bit more, I think, sensitive on certain things just generally anyways. Yep. This was different to see that because you could tell it like literally almost like unlocked something.
Oh, yeah.
And I was really surprised by that. And Adam Sandler, like, listen, I'm very critical of Adam Sandler. I love old school Adam Sandler. I grew up on SNL. I grew up on him on SNL and his old movies and his comedies. His track record of movies over the last 30 years has been a lot of shit to me. And I'm very full on it. Even the ones that people like, even Big Daddy, where I know people love, I'm just like, is there a little Nicky? I don't give a shit. Uncut Gems was something I know that when it came out, it was something we were really excited about. And overall, like, I felt like the story was kind of a miss. But his performance he did really well, and I thought he did really great. And honestly, things like, was it Spanglish? I really like Spanglish.
Spanglish, Drunk Punch Love.
He has range. He just needs the right material.
Right.
And this was the right material. And like, while I don't feel like it challenged him necessarily, and maybe it did, I guess, in some perspective, but this was a showcase of how he can act. Basically, by himself. and it was really impressive. I mean, listen, the Carey Mulligan, I'd say the only thing I thought was that there wasn't enough of her. I love Carey Mulligan.
I agree with that.
There could have been more of her, but man, this is quite a surprise and shock to, for one, a Netflix putting out a good fucking movie.
Right.
2, having Adam Sandler Netflix coming out with a good movie.
Right.
And 3, just being something that comes out of left field and you were like, and just didn't realize what it was going to do to you. So, it's a movie I feel like I need to watch again because I don't feel like I took it in as much as I could have. And, I know I was a little distracted that evening as well, too, with all the basement stuff going on and whatnot, too. But I took away quite a lot with it as well, too. So I definitely feel like if you're somebody who likes that kind of storytelling that could be prepared to like, is it dusty in here? You need to watch this movie because it's definitely done very, very well. And Paul Dano,
oh yeah, it's Hannah.
chef's kiss,
he's really
as they
good.
say. Awesome.
Yeah, no. So basically, this story is about Adam Sandler. He plays Jakob, and he is an astronaut that is going on a deep space mission as he passed Jupiter, investigating some kind of like an anomaly in space that has been like haunting the skies of the of Earth and everything else nearby. And so he's up there they're trying to beat the South Korean astronauts that are going up there. They want to be the first one to investigate it. And he's on this journey, and he's left behind his wife who's pregnant, and they've kind of grown distant throughout his rise to the ranks to go on this mission. They have grown distant with one another. And as he's up there, this is where I feel like Adam Sandler has done some of his best work because, as you mentioned, when you're basically solo in a movie, this is basically like Tom Hanks in Castaway for
really
the most part.
It is.
You have to rely on the actor. He's the guy that's carrying this film, and he does everything necessary to carry all the scenes, all of the heavy lifting, emotional scenes. He does a phenomenal job with that as he's coming to terms with the relationship with his wife and how he's kind of like got these self-inflicted, like, I don't want to say vices, but like just. He's got his relationship with his wife has deteriorated over the years, and he's may or not have just forgotten how important she is to him.
And when you're out there in the space,
you get a lot of time to think.
Yeah, you're lonely. You start to kind of reflect on that thing.
Yes, and I feel like that's something you mentioned. Why this might resonate with some people in either a positive or a negative way is I feel like there are a lot of people like Jakob who have that type of relationship. Maybe it hits when it strikes that chord with them. It's because they realize it's something that they've been guilty of in the past, and they were never able to remedy it.
Sure.
Or maybe there are people who watched it who have gone through it and they were able to remedy it, and they can understand and and relate in that way. So I mean, there are going to be some folks who are going to watch this and be going, "Oh, I don't know if I like this because I've gone through this and I've come out on the negative side of it." And there's going to be other people who have seen it that are going to be like, "Oh man, I can understand what he's going through," and they're more positive about it because they've come out on the good side of things.
Right.
And again, it's all about reflecting and introspective and coming to terms and holding yourself accountable for the things that you do and how you treat people. So I feel like Adam Sandler is phenomenal in this movie. He does a great job in all the scenes that is necessary for him to carry the scene. It's emotional and has a lot of weight to it. The other part of this movie that I really enjoyed was Max Richter's just like haunting trance-like sci-fi score. Like the soundtrack does such a great job that it complements the impressive like deep space setting, and it really helps elevate those dramatic scenes. I mean, it's very trance, like it's just something that like if you're watching
trance is a good word.
The surround sound, I mean, you are really pulled into the scenes, not just the visuals of everything, but the emotional moments. Like it is just all really well done. So I mean, you're really into most of these scenes. It's an incredibly well put together movie production wise in terms of its visuals and its music, the score to the film. So shout out to Max Richter's for just an incredible soundtrack. Now the story itself, I do feel like it takes a little while. It's kind of a slow burn to get to the point where it's kind of drive home.
It is not an exciting movie.
It's not a fast-paced movie. It's a thinking movie, and it's a movie that's going to like I said, cause a lot of reflection and kind of looking in a mirror for a lot of people. And again, it's going to depend on each person's individual experiences in life, how they're going to relate to this film. But like I do feel like there were a couple pacing issues. I don't know if there was. It almost seemed like there were some scenes where like I almost felt like they really wanted to like tap into Adam Sandler's humor and they kind of like they didn't go for it all the way. It just kind of like just seemed out of place.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a couple of those scenes, and so I put that more on the writing and the direction of the film, and some of those scenes that are just a little bit goofy. But like you said, man, I feel like the biggest complaint I have with this movie is I love Carey Mulligan, but I really wish they would have utilized her more and really fleshed out her character more, because she is an integral part of Jakob and his journey. And so I wish they would have really dove into her character more, and how and the ways that she was doing everything she could to show Jakob, like, I love you, and that you're an important part of me. I want to be there I want to be a part of everything with you, and really drive that home, because that would have added more weight to Jakob's story arc. So I feel like, when you have somebody talented like Carey Mulligan, you probably had a couple of emotional scenes you could have put in there. Now, I am not familiar with the book, and maybe the book doesn't have those scenes. Maybe that's one of the critiques of the book. I don't know. All I know is it would have added a lot of emotional weight to Jakob's storyline if we would have got a little bit more about Lenka.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if, and this is just me off the top of my head on this, the reason they didn't do that was because this is almost like a POV, like it's all just
right,
because it's from his perspective, like. But I definitely agree. Like,
I just feel like it would have gave his perspective even more depth.
Yeah, like just
if
having
you had more from her.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the movie was. Brittany says, I think the movie was more about showcasing his perspective, and I feel as the movie went on, we got more of those special flashbacks. I agree, we do. There is enough there. I just feel like you could have done a lot more with Carey Mulligan, some more emotional, impactful scenes with her to really drive it home. Like I said, I didn't mind her in this movie. I just felt like she was underutilized. I feel like you could have gotten more out of her to realize how important she was. I just feel like there was some missed opportunity there to really kind of add some depth to her character.
Trick also said he thought that was kind of the point because he was so distant from her too.
I think that's. Look, that part is a great thing. I think then if the flashbacks were something important, though, I feel like you could have done more with those flashbacks. I think
it's fair perspective for sure.
Just add a little bit more to her, just to really drive home his side of the story.
Well, I'm surprised even towards the end, like those, like a lot of that stuff was not really happening as often, and it was more focusing on him and Hanush, which I kind of get because it was in the moment. But like I felt like there was some parallels between Hanush as well as her too. So I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's quite a wowzer movie. I just happened to be on Netflix and being like, bro, I forgot this came out. Like, we should talk about this. I want to talk about this. So, that's why we were able to watch it right away too. So,
but yeah, and then just to circle back to what you said about Paul Dano, just as Hanush, just a great performance. It's hard to get by in a voice performance, but Paul Dano has shown that he can do anything. He really can. He can literally do anything in any type of role, in any type of medium, and I really, really dig that about him. And he was great as Hanush. But overall, man, this is just one of those movies where, like, Brittany was emotional. There were some scenes where I was like, man, this is like hitting pretty deep. There's some heavy scenes here. But like I was into it the whole time. Like Adam Sandler was amazing in it. The score was incredible in it. What the cosmic scenery was just beautiful. It just felt like it was a really good movie all around. Yeah, no, look, I can totally understand why this movie might not have gone over well with a lot of people. It is a different type of film. But I do feel like some of that comes down to the individual and what they've experienced in real life, because this movie does touch on some kind of heady themes that a lot of people might have a hard time accepting or
some
revisiting.
People just don't want to do. Yeah, some people just don't like that kind of movie.
Like you said, they're looking for escapism, and there are some people who probably get hit a little bit harder by this sort of thing. Either because they were a victim of it or because they were something that they might have done that they regret. Who knows?
Yeah, and to kind of get the elephant out of the room on this as well too. Where he was sleeping definitely looked like the butthole, like right around the. Every night he'd get into his little butthole, and slide into those intestines there. I was like, I had to comment on that too. I'm like, is he sleeping in like a butthole? Like, what's going on there?
But yeah, totally underrated flick, man. I like I said, I know when the reviews came out, they were very divisive. And it was kind of all over the place. Like I said, I think it's sitting at like a 55 or something like on Rotten Tomatoes, so not like terrible. It's close to being fresh. I think 60 is fresh. So it's kind of there, but yeah, if you look at some of the reviews, they're kind of all over the place. Some people fucking love it, and some people just didn't. So I feel like it's one of those movies where it's It's up for interpretation, and it's really going to depend on the individual who's seeing it. But
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good film. Especially, I don't know, maybe the bar was low because you said it's Netflix, it's Adam Sandler, and typically those movies are fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But coming away from this, I mean, hour and 40-some minutes, I was just like, this is a fucking good flick, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, big fan of it. We want to get you guys and girls' thoughts. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments below what you thought of Spaceman. Have you even watched it? I feel like there's a lot of people that might have just kind of let this thing go by because they automatically assume Netflix, Adam Sandler, I'm good.
Right.
I'm all set on this.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments what you think of it. I thought it was really, really good. Tone really enjoyed it, and Brittany was a sobbing mess.
Mess.
Mm-hmm. That's why I told my wife, "Is like, you gotta watch this because I know she'll probably be up there just crying her eyes out." So, all right, Tone, we're moving on to get your paper out, get your it's fucking news. News from around the realm. Only got a couple of topics tonight. This first one is something that I am not totally surprised about, but it is a little disheartening to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But Sony has reportedly produced 2 million units of PSVR2, but shipments have been declining since its launch in February of 2023, and they have halted production on additional PSVR2 units until they can figure out how the fuck to get rid of the rest of the ones that are sitting on shelves right now.
Yeah. Well.
And, I think part of it, Tone, is obviously the price, the cost to get into it.
Absolutely.
It's more than a PlayStation 5 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you're paying more for an add-on than the actual system itself that you have to use it with. And I feel like that's obviously a major turnoff to a lot of people, unless you're an enthusiast or you're just a tech whore like myself and you want to just try shit out. There's not a lot of people that are going to be going out and buying this thing. Now, obviously, PSVR, the first one, sold a lot better than I think anyone expected. As somebody who saw
it, it sold really well.
But PSVR 2 has not really taken off. And then the other half of the equation, and it's no surprise here because it's just typically what Sony does with their niche products, just no support. Other than Horizon Call of the Mountain, the Gran Turismo 7, what was it? They added like a VR mode to it that I guess is supposed to be really good. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I heard it's like incredible.
Yeah.
And then you've got the typical Resident Evil. They've got all those games in VR, and those are great too. Those are great experiences. But by all accounts, the first party support has just not been there. And I mean, earlier this year, Sony laid off a bunch of people. They closed down, I think it was Sony London, who did that blood game like 2 years ago on VR that was fucking awesome.
Huge.
And they were working on a VR game, and they closed that fucking studio down completely, which is a fucking shame. But like, there's just nothing right now from first party. And now people are wondering, like, yeah, you've halted production, and you got to figure out how to move these other units that are sitting on shelves. I don't know if a price cut's going to do it. We do know that they are working on PC compatibility. By the end of the year, they're hoping to make it so PSVR 2 is compatible with PC VR games, which I do feel like will add some value to the system.
Especially with that haptic and all.
All the haptic feedback and all the bells and whistles that come with PSVR 2, being able to use it with PC VR games.
Oh, man, that's a lot of software.
There's a lot of software over there, and I feel like that adds to the appeal, but it's still that fucking price point that's got to come down at some point.
And I feel like this is, first of all, I want to at least point out once again that it's not due to the tech itself. The tech is actually very well built.
Right.
It's a step in like even with the MetaQuest 3 being out right now, this tech, you're not going to get an experience on a PSVR headset like you're going to get everywhere else because of the haptic feedbacks. And you're getting vibrations, micro spots on your head. Even the controls are some of the best. And it's And as somebody who loves the quests as well too. But this is a very Sony thing sometimes. Like we get these big fucking extra pieces or a handheld, and at some point we're just trudging slowly through and not putting out big first party stuff. Tell me why in the fuck we don't have Santa Monica making a VR version where you get to play as. Can you imagine playing as Kratos and doing this to get the chains going?
I mean,
how fucking gnarly would that be?
Yeah.
Like, look at me. Like, I don't care if it's just a fucking gimmick bullshit. Like, I mean, Call of the Wild is kind of gimmicky, but it's a really good experience.
Awesome world to explore. Yeah.
Right. Like, why wouldn't you do that with fucking Kratos? Like, I'll be Kratos for a fucking day. I don't know. Like, what's up? So it's very disheartening that, you invest in these sort of things. It's, like you said, not a cheap product to get into.
Mm-hmm.
VR is the future of gaming, regardless if you want to believe that or not. That's where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta wonder, like, where is all this coming from? Well, let's look at the reality right now. Since the pandemic specifically, people don't have the extra expenditures.
Right.
So now you're asking people to also, even though the PS5 is selling well now, people are still getting caught up to it. So if they just bought a PS5 last year, they're not going to spend $600 this year on a fucking add-on.
Right.
Especially
if there's any truth to the rumor, and it sounds like there is a lot of truth to it. If there's a new PS5 Pro coming out, if you add that to the market, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be more people going to be looking at getting a PS5 Pro than thinking, okay, I think I'm ready to add on a PSVR2.
And then to boot on all of that, so people don't have the money, you got an expensive piece of hardware to add on.
Right.
You don't have any fucking software, and you haven't put out fucking software good enough to warrant some of that unless you're tech whores who love VR.
Yeah. And that's not to say there aren't great games on PSVR2. There are great games, even games that come from like outside third parties. So I'm telling you, man, the Red Matter games, fucking incredible games. Synops, fucking incredible game. Walkabout Mini Golf, one of the best like experiences I've had in VR. Like, it is just so immersive. I mean, it's there. The games can be made. The games can be super immersive and a lot of fun. But when you don't have first-party support to dig into those IPs that you have,
you got to be excited about it.
No one's going to be excited about your hardware if even you are not excited about your hardware.
Some of the games you're saying, I think some of those are third-party and on other platforms.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Walkabout is on other platforms.
So then if somebody says, well, I want to get one, like, okay, let's see, I don't have a PS5. Do I buy a PS5 and a headset, or do I buy a MetaQuest 2 or 3 and do that? You know what I mean? So there is also competition out there as well, too. But I think this comes down directly to the fact, again, that the some of the lack of software, first party specifically, and price point. And people don't have the expenditures. I've been talking to people for weeks and months now. The taxes season, this tax season has been a really weak one for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not going to move them. So.
And I think the other part of the problem,
it's a bummer.
The other part of the problem, Tone, is also like just VR in general hasn't really taken. I mean, even the MetaQuest is not exactly lighting the world on fire with its sales. I mean, VR hasn't quite really taken off yet. And I think part of the problem is, dude, with so many VR headsets, you've oversaturated a pretty small market.
Yeah.
So there's too many options.
Yeah.
And there's not enough games on either platform. I mean, yes, there's a lot of PC VR games, but it's just like, I mean, it doesn't have the that's why it's so integral for Sony to be first-party support, have VR games coming from your first party, but they don't want to invest in because, as we know right now, games are fucking expensive, and if no one's buying the headset, who are you making the games for?
And now you've got an industry that's eating itself from the inside out with layoffs and studios and other, crap closing. So there's a lot of things I think at play at this, but I think Sony has to take a big step forward and say we're a big part of that problem too.
Yeah.
So.
They absolutely are, and it's just disappointing, man, because overall, like, I love the experience I've had with PlayStation VR2. Do I play it as much as I would like? No, I don't. I'll be the first to admit. I'm not playing it all the time, but, man, there are times when I'm sitting down here and I'm like, you know what? I haven't played in a minute. Turn it on, play a couple rounds of Walkabout Creek mini golf. I'm just like, this is where I want gaming to go in the future. Obviously, look, it's got a cord on it and this and that, and it's whatever, but at the same time, like, I still get a reminder of just how immersive and how fun VR gaming can be. And I wish Sony would embrace it more, but I also kind of wish other gamers would embrace it, but it's really difficult to get gamers to embrace it when the fucking cost of entry is ridiculous.
Insane.
It's really hard to get people to go out there and buy a $500 system and then ask them to pay $550 for a fucking add-on for an additional experience. It's just, I think AR is more of a future. I mean, I think AR is more or less what the Apple... whatever their fucking $1,300 headset is. I think theirs is like a lot of AR stuff. But, man, I just, like, AR is cool. I think it's great. I mean, it can be pretty immersive. But, man, like, VR is, like, where I want to be. When I can sit there and put my headset on it. And, again, AR is really interesting, and it can be pretty cool. But when I put on a VR headset and I am transported to a fucking world that I am in, that I'm looking around, that I'm completely surrounded by, and I can interact with it with controllers like the PS VR controllers that have the haptics, and if I go reach out and bump into something, I can feel it on my hand. That's the type of fucking experience I want, dude. I want to football, dude. That's that. I said that's why I feel like VR needs to go if it really wants to get. I mean, full on immersion.
You've seen that Disney thing, right?
Dude, that is fucking wild. Where you can like walk in place and like there's little balls on the pads that'll actually like kind of keep you in place as you're walking. That is. That's where we're going.
It's like the fucking like DDR pads and shit.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
It's wild, dude. Like I really want that for VR. It's just we're not there yet. But at the same time, because we're not there yet, I don't want people to like lose interest in VR. I don't want VR to like just like I don't want all these publishers and all these creators to be like, yeah, we tried. It's just not there. We'll wait another 30 years.
The problem is they gotta have the right funding and they gotta have patience because as
install
somebody who knows
base.
somebody who's building a VR MMO experience kind of game, it's a lot of fucking work because it's not just like creating a world. You have to create a world where every even piece of air is a box of data.
Right.
So it's very integral. So it's pretty crazy. But I mean, the one best experience I can say and I love all the VR stuff, and Jurassic can attest to this, and it's now no longer available at Disney Springs, but is the Void when you could pay the $20 and we put on the helmets, the backpacks, and you hold a gun and you're in like Rogue One, Star Wars, and dude, when you're feeling blasters coming from stormtroopers and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That's wild. so good.
He misses it, you know. And
So
like,
gnarly.
I feel like again, it's moments like that where you're just like, fuck, man, I really want this to do well.
I feel like
really
a
want it
lot
to
of the
do well.
people that typically criticize it have no experience with VR.
That
And
is
I've
the
said
case.
since
Yeah.
day one on this show that until you put that headset on,
I
you
wanna
don't
hear it.
understand the immersion and what
Yeah,
that
I don't
what
wanna
that's
hear
like. Right. Because it's not just about like seeing something in 3D. It's about making you feel like you're actually part of
Yeah,
it.
man. I mean,
And that's
you're
what's
in the
exciting
game,
about
dude.
it.
You forget you're playing
Yeah.
a game most of the time.
Yeah.
You're like in there, like, dude,
Yeah.
when you're doing that putty golf game, the walkabout mini golf, and just the way when like the haptic feedback when you're lining up your shot, and the way like, dude, there was one time where I was on a hole where I was standing by a ledge. That was kind of like a drop off, like down to the ocean below. And I'm sitting there lining up my shot and was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of panic a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
and move over. But then I line up my shot and I put it back and I hit it gently and you had that haptic where like you're making contact with
Yeah.
the ball. Like you feel that contact and you're just like, that's fucking just incredible, dude. And I mean, again, just an incredible world, and I love VR and I want it to do well, but Sony and all these other like headset creators, I just think they're in a tough spot right now. They don't know how to promote this, they don't know how to sell it,
Yeah, and the problem
and
is
they don't know how to support it.
And well, yeah, that's for sure. And the problem is, again, it's always going to be that price, and you need to make sure it's a value. You want people to get buy-in. You're going to have to take a hit for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what they're going to do. They're going to stop production on this thing. They're going to wait to see if they're able to get the PC support, which I think they're I mean, you don't put that in a blog post that it's something that you're targeting for the end of the year and then just be like, oh, it didn't work out. Like they clearly know that they can get this thing to work, and I think that will
That could rejuvenate
increase
it.
the appeal of it, and then obviously a price cut along the way, make it more in line with the other PC VR headsets. I feel like that's going to be its last. That'll be the last shot for PSVR.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it doesn't work, I am not going to expect
Money shot.
a PSVR3. I just don't think we'll see that. I think Sony is at that point now where it's like, look, we did well enough with VR1. We've created a system that can create a great experience in VR2. Here's VR2. If it doesn't sell, I just don't think they're going to go for PSVR3.
Or if they, because the PSVR2, for all intents and purposes, with the haptics and everything, maybe they just hang on to it even through the next console cycle.
yeah, I mean, if it's backwards compatible,
Because the PSVR one wasn't.
right, that's a good point. You know,
So,
well, I mean, we'll see when the PS4 or PS5 Pro, when that ultimately comes out, and if that increases the fidelity and the experience overall, and they can drop the price. I mean, they're gonna have to drop that price considerably because PS5 Pro comes out, that thing's gonna be more expensive than PSVR2. So you're gonna have to do something to knock that price down, take a hit on it, or whatever you need to do, just to get them off the shelves, and then let the software kind of make up for it. But you gotta have software from first-party studios, and with the way they're realigning things, I just don't know where they have the teams where they can build that stuff. Right, especially when you just killed off one of the teams that was responsible for a lot of your VR content.
Right,
just really weird decisions, but I don't know, man. We'll see. Now, in the next piece of news, boy, talking about weird decisions. We've talked about this movie several times in the past, and you and I have both decided, or still have not decided to watch.
did you say that right?
Yeah, both of us have decided not to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, or whatever the hell it is. But, dude, a lot of things have happened since we stopped watching it, or since we decided not to watch it. The Twisted Childhood universe is a thing. The filmmakers behind Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey have unveiled the Pooniverse. Monsters Assemble, bringing together Pooh and various other beloved children's characters gone bad. Drastin says, just stop. Brittany, ugh. Jagged End Productions and ITN Studios will team with Winnie the Pooh with murderous versions of figures, including, I didn't realize these were all a thing, man. Bambi, Tinkerbell, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Tigger, Piglet, the Mad Hatter, and Sleeping Beauty. They're all coming together for an IP bludgeoning frenzy due for release in 2025.
So when I saw that 7 Dungeons, I was like, does that say Poontang? Like, what am I looking at here? I like Poon just like everybody else.
Pooniverse.
The Pooniverse. Jesus H. Christ.
This is what Scott Chambers, the lead for Jagged Edge, had to say. As horror fans, we would love an Avengers that is all villains. It'd have Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, Ghostface, all those. Obviously, that will never happen. But we can make it happen in our own little way, and that's where this film has been born. So many of the and now here's the thing, man. Like right now, the only movie that's ever come out is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and it made like $5 million off like a $50,000 budget. So by all accounts, a success for them. Yeah, an all-out success.
Like 8 Rotten Tomato score.
Right, like really bad. It might have gotten to 8. I don't even know. But so like, there's only been one movie, and now this assembling is supposed to take place next year. So between now and next year, we're supposed to get movies for all these individual characters.
Jesus H. That's
Pinocchio, the Sleeping Beauty, and all this stuff. But we do know that many of the characters are set to appear in the Pooniverse will first feature in standalone films coming this year and falling under the Jagged Edge versions of the MCU, the Twisted Childhood universe.
You know there's going to be like credit like clips and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Right?
The upcoming films will include various Easter eggs linking them toward the upcoming horrifying crossover.
They fucking did it.
So beginning this month, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 will be releasing in theaters through a Fathom event, mind you, which you are a big Fathom event guy.
Okay.
They'll become Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 comes to theaters on March 26th, 27th, and 28th. And between now and next year, we're going to see movies like the ones behind us. What is this? Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Bambi, the Reckoning. I mean, wow. There's some
They're
some clever shit
double,
going on.
tripling, and quadrupling down, and plus more apparently.
And see, when they all come together, I mean, they mentioned too, like you're not going to just have them all aligned and wreaking havoc on innocent people. I mean, you're going to have inter squad issues, and you're going to have monster versus monster moments as they fight for that hierarchy and all that. So
of course they will.
Who is going to play Poonie versus Nick Fury? That's a great. Wouldn't it be Robbins?
Christopher Robbins.
Christopher Robbins. He's got to be the Nick Fury, I'm assuming.
Oh my fucking God! Please make that be real.
I just, dude, I refuse to watch that first one. I just heard it's so bad, and I just felt like that was such a lame cash grab. And we actually, what was the one we just saw recently?
Yeah, I kind of want to see. I do too.
I feel like
I kind of want to watch this bullshit now.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, if you watch it, let me know, and I'll punish
no rush
myself.
to get to it. We got other things in time, but yeah, like still.
But we watched a trailer recently of another one of those movies. And I can't remember which one it was. Was it the Mickey Mouse one? Remember the Steamboat Willie?
Steamboat Willie. Yeah, God.
Christopher Robbins dies in the Pooh movie, does he? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Tricky Region's out here just spoiling movies. Now we don't have to watch it. Thanks, Trick.
That's fine.
Mike is my horror expert for reference. He said it's really bad and not in a good way. Man, see, I don't mind if it's bad. If it's so bad, it's good. You know, if it's a bad movie but it's fun to watch, then, count me in.
Sure.
But if it's just clearly a cash grab that fucking sucks, then I'll get pissed and I won't even finish it.
You ain't seen Thanksgiving, have you?
I have it downloaded.
Okay, let's have the battle.
It's not Killer. Dude, Killer Clowns is that rare, just like all the stars and moon align for a movie. Like Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a fucking incredible movie, and no one would be able to tell me otherwise. Is it terrible? Sure, but is it endearing? Is it charming? Does it have its own personality?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's a movie that holds up well even today. I haven't watched either, just the trailer. Oh, okay, all right. Trick, I tell you what, if I watch it, you got to watch it. We'll all watch it, and then we'll have a roundtable discussion about Winnie
There you go.
the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Winnie the Pooh.
But the new one
Blood
comes
and
out next week. Maybe we skip Godzilla and go see.
No.
This is wild, though, man. I mean, seriously, when this movie came out, the first one, did you expect to find out that we were going to get the Twisted Childhood
The
universe?
Pooniverse.
That's just fucking. That's incredible. I like this art though. That's kind of retro looking. I kind of dig that. It's all everyone on there. Pinocchio. You got Pooh on the reindeer, and then up here is somebody, and over there is somebody. I think the Mad Hatter might be behind you somewhere, but they're all there, man. They're all there, and they're all gonna. All these movies are gonna be dropping this year. So I mean, who knows like how quick the turnaround? They're just shooting these movies, and just putting them out real quick, and people are gonna go eat it up. There's obviously a following. Made $5 million off of $50,000. People fucking love this shit, and I want to get you guys to go thoughts. If you are a fan of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and you're excited for the Pooniverse,
Yeah, we got to hear about it.
I want to fucking hear about it in the comments below because you're out there somewhere.
Sell me on it.
Sell us on it. Tell us why we need to watch it. Why is it so bad it's good? Tell me how it's somewhere along the same lines as Killer Clowns from Outer Space. If you can make comparisons there and sell to me that it's just as good as that, or if not better, I'll go see it. I'll watch the damn thing. But until then, I got to wait till he watches it because I'm not watching if he doesn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy, man. The Twisted Childhood universe. This is a fucking thing, dude. Absolutely
wild times that we live in.
The world we live in is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tone, this is going to be the bulk of the show tonight. We have one more topic after this. Is give me the meme debate, but dude, we have 5 fucking trailers.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere this week.
Yeah, it's funny how Wednesdays sometimes like we'll be like on a weekend day being like, "What the fuck are we gonna talk about this week?" And I'll be like, "I don't fucking know." You'll be like, "I don't fucking know. We ain't gonna have shit." And then all of a sudden, like a Wednesday or a Tuesday, there's announcements or trailers are dropping, some news pops up. So
Josie Wales, what's going on, man?
Something like that happens, and here we are.
Yeah, dude, we have a ton of trailers to talk about. There's another trailer dropping tomorrow. And it escapes me which one, but I saw something come out with there's a trailer coming out tomorrow for something that's hotly anticipated. I can't remember if it's a show or a movie, but a lot of people are really excited about. But all right, Tom, this first trailer was accompanied by a fucking poster that people were just like, oh my God, that poster goes hard as fuck. And you know which one I'm talking about. We'll show it to you guys and girls in a moment. But we're going to check out the trailer for Star Wars The Acolyte coming this June. June is turning out to be a fucking hot month, bro.
This year's starting to like really, yeah, you're right. But
TV is going to be nuts in June. But let's check out the trailer for Star Wars The Acolyte. Oh, that is not the trailer.
Wow.
This is the trailer.
What happened?
I sensed darkness.
This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
What is that?
Okay. So I did not watch that when it first came out. I waited to watch it right now.
Yep.
Quick synopsis here. This is set roughly 100 years before Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Still considered the High Republic. And that's a whole other topic. But
the Jedi have ushered in a time of peace and prosperity. But somebody's killing off Jedis, and the Sith do not exist yet.
That's supposed to be.
Really?
But they have always been around, just in the shadows, waiting patiently for a time to show themselves to the Jedi, to the galaxy.
All right, Tone. I gotta get your thoughts, man. First of all, let's just for the sake of like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That poster goes hard as fuck.
Listen, you guys have heard me on here constantly talk about how I want to get away from the Skywalker saga, how much I love Sith is my thing. This is really trying to talk loud to me.
Mm-hmm.
While I know it's supposed to be a lot about some of the Sith rise or like a lot of perspective of the Sith, it's Disney's not going to have enough of like the good guys all giving hugs and stuff. So you got plenty of Jedi, whatever. But man, I want this to be like straight up like fucking some shit up. Like I want some episode 3 vibes. Like I want some dark ass Sith shit or dark Jedi shit, whatever it is. That's what I'm trying to get at, and that's why I was excited. Like I've been apprehensive about all of Disney Star Wars product since buying it, and I was really concerned about this as well too for a while. But after seeing this trailer, that's kind of flipped a little bit. Now I'm cautiously optimistic. Always going to be cautious,
Always.
right? I big Matrix fan, as some of you may or may not know. I'm a huge Matrix fan. So seeing Carrie-Anne Moss be Trinity as a Jedi,
That's fucking
I'm
wild.
signing off. And what do I got? I'll simp hard on it. I don't fucking care. That looked fucking gnarly as shit.
Yeah, dude.
First of all, I love that we're tying more into the High Republic. I do wish it was a little bit farther back in the High Republic because there's a lot of things I would like to see visually. Because apparently the books have, for all intents and purposes, have been very popular. The High Republic's been pretty awesome, I guess. But the questions I have and some of the things, it's little stuff to throw out there, like we gonna get a cameo from Yoda, Yaddle, like, hey, technically I think time frame wise we could see maybe a Chewbacca or something, like a young Chewbacca or whatever. I know we're gonna get a Wookiee Jedi in here, which is really excited. Some people speculate it might be an older version of the character in the High Republic books. I don't know. All of it's really exciting. It's while in a galaxy far away, I want more like general people, like things in like Andor. I want more of that kind of feel. It's also nice that if we're gonna do this, it's nothing. Hopefully, will be tied into anything Skywalker or anything. Maybe I don't even want to hear about the fucking prophecy.
Right.
I don't want to hear balance. I don't want to hear none of that shit.
Right.
I want to just see what they're showing me here, basically. So
see, that's when I saw this, when watching this trailer here, I was like, okay, cool, man. I'm getting the same vibes that I got from Andor. We're kind of branching out and exploring different factions, different times, different things that we just aren't familiar. Myself, somebody who is like mostly the mainstream movies, a couple of the shows now, but like something that's a little bit darker, grittier. It's obviously this is gonna be kind of a violent show. I'm assuming this is going.
It better be. I mean, like Seven Dungeons is saying it. Jedi need to fucking die in this. Like, don't show me a poster like that.
Yeah,
and
where
pull a
there's
punch.
blood and shit. Yeah,
right.
don't make it all sweet and fun.
Like. Like half the horror films in the last decade that this is awesome, and then it's PG-13. It's like
I feel like Andor was kind of like that stepping stone to what we want them to get to this in terms of this, like something that's going to be more adult themed.
Yes,
something that's going to not be necessarily for the kiddies,
which brings up a conversation the Star Wars chat was talking about briefly yesterday. Me, Seven Dungeons, Rohit, and Crash was, and Jay even was that. Who is Star Wars for still? Because George Lucas would tell you, even to this day, it's for kids, 14-year-old boys and younger, and 14-year-old girls or whatever. But the thing that always made me mad about George Lucas, he always forgot the fact that he created something people love. They're going to pass it to their kids, which means the adults are still going to hang on to it like a lot of us have for 30, 40 fucking years. You need to cater to everybody, and that's why Filoni, for the most part, gets that because he's still a fan and he's an old guy too. So that's what I want from this. Like, not everything that comes out. Listen, you can have all the cartoons that come out that have a little dark theme, but enough for the kids to watch. Watch Clone Wars, watch Bad Batch, but like Andor, give us something that's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more grittier, and a little bit more fucking adult themed, because that's what I want. You want to keep me invested for a while. The kids aren't the ones buying the fucking toys. It's man kids like me that's doing it.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it, and they forget that shit sometimes. And I think that. I feel like Disney is somebody starting to figure that out maybe a little bit. We'll see. We won't know till June, but this has potential to be a really great story in a time frame that we don't have a lot in. Like Old Republic's 5,000 years before this. This is only 100 years away from the original trilogy and stuff like that. There's still plenty of room to play around with as well too.
Right.
It's still, like you said, peace and prosperity. The Jedi are not as dogmatic still yet. They're still a little bit like, kind of their own thing. They're not so tied to the politics side of it. This could be fun in those aspects as well too. They just got to fucking do it right.
Right. Catherine Ann Moss, and then that was a guy from Squid Games. I didn't realize that until I saw him. Who was talking at the beginning?
That was the Squid Games guy.
Yeah. That's fucking wild,
I can't think of his name, but yeah, that's crazy. He's got a role like that, and that's one thing that I do love about the High Republic is Star Wars has always been good about like diversity when it comes to like alien races, but this you're seeing like diversity from like the human style races as well too, and the alien races. So it's a good palette of all kinds of stuff because there's thousands of Jedi. It's like a
Right.
peak time for Jedi, so you get to see a lot, which is also exciting. And yellow lightsabers, which is typically rare.
That's pretty hot. No, that was a sweet trailer, man. Like that was my first time watching it. I was like,
Mhm.
like I said, I got the same vibes I got from Andor. I'm like,
Mhm.
we're branching out, exploring some different stuff, and again, not tied to the Skywalker stuff and all that shit. Just give me. It's not all happy and
Right.
fun. Like I
Right.
want the dark, gritty nature
Mhm.
of the Force, and I want of the rebellion, and I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Shit like that. I think that shit's appealing. Like I
Mhm.
think that's awesome. And like you said, I think it gives you a little bit more freedom to kind of explore things that maybe we typically haven't explored, maybe not even in the books. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can create all kinds of new stuff like they always do: vehicles, ships, races, aliens,
Yeah.
bad guys, whatever. So I just want to see a red lightsaber come through a forest and not chop trees, but also Jedi. That's all I want
Cut
to
some
see.
heads off. Man,
Yeah, split them in half, bitch.
that was a sweet trailer.
Yeah.
That was really, really
Pretty
good.
cool.
Really excited for that. So we'll give 2 episodes on June 4th.
Oh, I got to clear that calendar.
2 episodes dropping on June. Dude, June is looking fucking insane,
Crash,
man.
crash.
You've got this, The Boys, House of Dragon. That's the trailer that comes out tomorrow. House of Dragon.
Oh fuck!
Season 2 trailer drops tomorrow. They had all the posters come out. And all the posters said pick a side.
I missed
And
that.
they had all the characters.
you
And I was like,
serious?
oh my God, it's getting here. It's getting close. June is shaping up to be a hot month for
I
streaming,
ain't going
dude.
anywhere in June, I guess.
Just stay home.
I
Don't
guess.
go anywhere.
I
Just
guess
stay
so.
home.
Sorry, everybody.
All right, this next trailer. What's up, Crash?
Yo.
This next trailer dropped the
Yeah.
other day. It is official trailer number 2, and it's probably the last trailer we'll watch. If there's a third one, we won't watch. I feel like we got a lot of Furiosa in the first one. This one, we get plenty of Furiosa, but we also get a lot more of Dementis, who is played by Chris Hemsworth. We get a little bit more from his
Big
character.
no store.
So let's check out the trailer for Furiosa official trailer 2.
Furiosa! We've come too far. Furiosa! They took Furiosa!
As a child, my world was forever changed. My mother was magnificent. And he took it all from me.
Who do we have here?
She's from a place of abundance. This is our destiny.
My childhood, my mother, I want them back. I want them back.
Whatever you have to do, however long it takes, promise you'll find your way home. Protect the green place.
It's time to take what's rightfully ours! Ready? Steady! Go! Where are you going? So full of hope! There is no hope!
If you find him, he's mine.
There will always be war, but to get home, Furiosa fought the world.
Remember me.
I'll be
6 to
there.
midnight.
I'll be there.
6 to midnight. What in the fuck, man?
Yeah, dude. We got to see a little bit more as Chris Hemsworth as Dementis. This movie is gonna go to a full 11, dude. I
Dude,
mean, it's
fuck
gonna go
yeah.
hard as fuck.
Yeah.
The only thing, dude, if I want to be pessimistic, or not even that, if I just want to be devil's advocate, the only thing that I've noticed from these two trailers now, that kind of this is a prequel to the last one. It's a much earlier when Furiosa was younger, kind of like her origin story.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I'll talk about why they didn't bring Charlize Theron back to this in any which way, even though her
It makes
character's
sense,
younger.
but maybe
George Miller is not a fan of the de-aging process. He is not a fan of it, like because he goes, the reason he doesn't like it, and it makes sense,
I respect
is
it.
because when you're watching it, you know it's de-aging.
Right.
You know, when Harrison Ford showed up in Last Indiana Jones, the opening, he's young Harrison Ford. You know it's de-aging. He doesn't like that it pulls you out going, oh, she's de-aged.
You're focusing on that instead of paying attention to the scene.
Exactly.
I can respect that
And
perspective.
Ann Taylor-Joy is a fucking phenomenal actress, so I mean, we're not like, it's not like a downgrade here.
Her stratosphere is just going and going and going.
She's on her way to the upper echelon if she's not already there. But going back to my one issue, and I don't want, and hopefully they're just not showing a lot of it. The one thing I loved about the last one were the stunts. A lot of practical stuff. They used CGI kind of around everything.
Correct. There was a lot of practical.
There was
stuff.
a lot of practical
big thing
effects, a
about it.
lot of dangerous stunts, which
Yep.
is what George Miller loves. There's a lot in these trailers that are clearly CGI action sequences, and I feel like that kind of takes away from it a little bit because they have set such a precedent through this, not just Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah,
I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
They have all been all about very dangerous stunts and things of that nature. And I get it. You can't put a lot of these stunt people in these situations that are just completely over the top. But George Miller always found a way to like, okay, we're going to push the envelope a little bit here. It's going to be dangerous, but it's for the audience. In these trailers so far, we've seen a lot of like CGI stuff, which I'm okay with. Like I said, it's going to be dangerous. You can't have certain scenes, but I hope it's not completely devoid of the stunts that have made these movies so popular.
Like there's
got
to be a balance, maybe at least
a little bit. I mean, and Mad Max Fury Road, for all accounts, man, that movie was fucking.
That movie goes hard.
Insanity.
Yeah.
With some of the stunts that they pulled off in it.
Yeah.
But overall, man, I'm fucking hyped for this. Dope ass fucking trailer. Nice soundtrack choice,
dude.
I mean, unbelievable scene.
If you guys couldn't tell when, like, and I had said this, like when she shaved her head off, and she looks at the camera, like I'm like, she looks like a young Charlize Theron, and like both scenes that they do that as well too. Is Anya Taylor? Yeah, she like as an actress, we've already seen some great stuff on her. What I keep saying, what I'm excited about this for her is that this is getting her out of those drama molds, and this is potentially giving us a new like action going forward, like because that there's plenty of gap in between this and Fury Road, so she could at least do a couple movies, and maybe this will platform her into something else, maybe a sci-fi action, whatever it is. Like I love when actresses like this get outside and all of a sudden switch direction and get into action, like Charlize Theron, who's awesome in action.
Right.
This is somebody who I could see that can do that as well too, and that's exciting because some of the people out there that do these sort of actions, ladies in particular, they're not doing them as much, or we don't have anybody at Anya's age to be able to move forward.
Right. And Brittany just said, you know, I'm sad Tom Hardy isn't it. We do know Tom Hardy is signed on for 3 Mad Max movies. So eventually they're going to, and remember, this is kind of a spin-off. This one is, because it's Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So this is like something that, I don't want to say it's a spin-off, but I don't know if we'll see Furiosa after this, unless she kind of plays a side character in an upcoming Mad Max film. But we know Tom Hardy is signed on for a couple of upcoming Mad Max
George Miller
films.
ain't getting younger, so get to it, buddy.
I mean, you got to get to it sooner or later. You know, I'm sure they'll bring Anya, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you bring Anya Taylor-Joy into it, you almost can't because they were introduced to one another in Mad Max Fury Road. So if anyone's coming back, it's got to be Charlize Theron as Fury. So that's why I'm thinking that this might just be kind of like, I don't want to say a one-off. They'll probably see where it goes, but we do know Tom Hardy is signed up for a couple of Mad Max pictures. So at some point, we're going to get another Mad Max that focuses on Max Ratansky.
Where he talks maybe a little bit.
Right. But I mean, at the same time, man, Charlize Theron was so good in Fury Road, he didn't have to talk.
No, yeah, I'm fine.
He just showed up, played his part, played kind of the wandering good guy, helping out the people. But I mean, it was really a Furiosa story in that, and that's what this is kind of like it's like a prequel, but kind of a sequel in a way because you're getting more of her story. But I just don't know if this is the ultimate plan is to have more Furiosa films going forward because he's still under contract for a couple Mad Max movies.
We'll see.
So we'll see. But overall, fucking dope ass trailer. I don't want any more trailers. We're 2 months away. I'll be there late Memorial weekend. Furiosa, a Mad Max
Yeah.
saga.
Yeah.
Fucking dope ass trailer.
Yeah.
Now this next trailer, Tone, dropped today. It's a teaser trailer. We have talked about Alien, the next movie, a couple times on the show in the past. We've heard little nuggets here and there, little things about it. What could be, is it going to be any good or not? We got our first teaser trailer today for Alien Romulus. Let's check it out.
Run.
Funny.
All right, so just a little teaser, just a little tease.
It's a little taste.
Just a little taste is all we're getting right now, but effective nonetheless. This was a really good teaser trailer. You had the audio, that sound that we heard in the original Aliens trailer. Fucking awesome callback. We do know that this is directed by Fede Alvarez, and he is responsible for what was it? He did Don't Breathe. I don't know if you ever saw Don't Breathe. That movie was fucking rad about the blind guy, Stephen Lang. He was in the first Avatar movie.
Yeah,
He's a general. He's a blind guy.
Stephen Lang's awesome.
Don't Breathe is fucking
I don't think I've seen
awesome.
that.
And he did 2013's Evil Dead, which I thought was a good remake.
I watched last year for the first time and really liked that
It's
movie.
really good.
It's a
So
really
the
good
guy,
movie.
he understands horror. He understands tension. It's something he's just really, really good at. It's starring Isabella Merced, Kaylee Spaney, Archie Renault, David Johnson. I don't want to say they're nobodies, but they're up and comers. So you've got basically a cast of I don't want to say unknowns, but just up and coming stars. It's produced by Ridley Scott, so he has a hand in it. And we do know about a year ago, Fede Alvarez showed Ridley Scott a rough cut of the film, and Ridley Scott said, "Fede, what can I say? It's fucking great." Now look, Ridley Scott's a producer. I don't expect Ridley Scott to come out and be like, it was okay. He's gonna say it's fucking great, but regardless, you're getting a compliment from the guy who made the first Alien movie, as well as Covenant and Prometheus.
Yeah, and I'm one of the rare ones. Like, I actually do love Prometheus.
You are rare, man, because
And
there's been people commenting on
I know.
TikTok saying they fucking hate Prometheus
Yeah,
and
I know.
Covenant. I was like, damn,
I like,
really?
I don't love Covenant as much as Prometheus, but I still really like Covenant. The thing for me is, I love the Alien universe. I do a rewatch of that series every fucking year, which, by the way, means I probably should get to that because usually I start that in February, but it's been busy.
You got until August to do it.
Right. So, like for me, like I'm going to be immersed in all of it. And like, yeah, they're not like, I think Prometheus is a pretty good movie, but
I like Prometheus.
But we also got to remember when that AVPs don't count. Fuck that trash.
I actually did hate the first one. The second Requiem is fucking terrible.
We got to remember that with Prometheus, when it first came out, Ridley Scott was kind of doing bits about it and saying,
He was.
this is not really linked to Alien. This is like, it's kind of in the same universe. And everybody's like, what the fuck, bro? You got Space Jockey sitting right there, too. So, like, what the fuck? And then finally, he had to, like, he took it on the nose because the fans were like, dude, like, are you serious
What were those
right
people
now?
called? Engineers? Were they called?
Engineers,
the
yeah.
engineers,
And then, in the with Covenant, he full blown, like, clearly linked it and created something and all the other stuff. And I don't mind where the story went with that, but from what I gather, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong on this one too, because I didn't think to look at this up, but I'm feeling like that this is gonna kind of like ignore those two movies or retcon or something. I thought.
Well, this takes place between the first Alien and Aliens.
Okay.
So it's a sequel to the first one and a prequel to the second
so
one.
so it doesn't necessarily mean that, because I thought I had read somewhere that they're trying to like change something in this, changes something of that. From those
so
two.
something will happen here that'll
That's
retcon.
what that's what I thought I had read at one point. I could be dreaming that up too, but I was pretty sure that. But regardless, This looks fucking amazing. This looks very Alien vibes to me.
Dude, it looks like they're on the fucking Nostromo.
Yeah, exactly. So like for me, like and again, anytime I see a xenomorph, sign me up.
Dude, and the way those fucking little
The
face huggers,
yeah, they're rolling
when
around
that door
like crazy.
busts open and they come flying through, I was like, damn! I'm like, oh my
Sometimes
god,
CG
run, bro!
PG done right can really enhance.
That's what I'm
a
talking
situation,
about,
really.
man. When it's done in a way where it enhances the experience and it doesn't completely overdo it,
No,
you got me, dude. I'm there for it. When it wants to enhance the horror, enhance the scene all day long, I'm cool with it. But when it's over the top and stupid, now look, man, when a xenomorph comes out, I want the rubber suit.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I want the dude in the rubber suit, the dude and chick in the rubber suit. Now, if you want to make some scenes where CGI to have it do things on the ceiling, whatever. But for the most part, I want a dude or a chick in a rubber suit running around fucking people up.
Exactly.
But I mean, somebody mentioned on TikTok on the reaction I put on there, they were like, "Man, heavy Alien Isolation vibes," and I was like, "That's a fine point of inspiration."
That's a very
to this day, still one of the most stressful games I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah.
Still haven't finished it. I don't think I got through the first chapter. I might still be in the tutorial where it's showing me how to go in and out of the vents.
Right.
Because I'm just sitting there, all of a sudden I just hear do, and I'm like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
This is where I die. My character dies from starvation or thirst or whatever.
I've got 40 hours in this vent.
Yeah, I'm not fucking leaving.
Yeah.
But this is just, it follows a crew of young scavengers investigating a derelict space station only to encounter the deadliest life form in space. That is all we got. Again, this teaser is great because it doesn't give you a whole lot of the plot, and it just shows, like, look, we're kind of going back to our roots on this one.
Right.
We're on a very claustrophobic space station.
That's where I wonder the retconning's coming in, because how are they on a space station when the reason they got to LV-24 or whatever it was for
246,
aliens,
I think it was.
Yeah, is because it's one of the ships that the space jockeys have that's got them, that carries them there, that they discover
in the first. Well, they come across that in the first one because that's where they get the egg.
right, and then they go, yeah, and that's where they end up colonizing that as well too.
Yep.
So I wonder where and how. Like that's what I'm just curious
Yeah.
about. Like how. Like I just want to know. Okay, well,
That's
anyways.
interesting. Now, who was the director that we really wanted to do? He was actually in the process of doing an Alien movie, and then he did District 9. What's that director's name?
Oh fuck, what's his name? I can't think of his name off the top
I
of my head.
cannot remember off the top of my head, but he was supposed to. He actually was like in the process of doing an Alien movie, and then whoever 20th Century Fox did, I don't know if it was during the merger where they were like, "No, we're not doing this anymore."
Yeah,
and I was just like, "Fuck, dude,
Yeah, he's
let
really good
my
at
man
immersive, too.
make an Alien movie."
Yes, that's true, and that's why, like, with Amanda Ripley, she goes out looking for her mom. I wonder if Alien Isolation is considered canon at all too, but she also encounters them as well too, and I don't remember how she does. As
the
well.
engineers?
No, the xenomorphs.
Oh yeah.
She's out looking for her mom. She goes out looking for Ellen. So
Right.
Anyways, like
That'd
I said,
be cool if they put a nod to isolation in this. That'd
be
cool.
really cool.
I would love that. I would really enjoy that. And like I said, man, I'm so different about this series.
Neil Blomkamp, yes.
Neil Blomkamp, yeah, dude. Like he was supposed to be directing an Alien movie. He was like, he had a story written and everything. And I was like, dude, I kept thinking of like District 9. I was like, man, you put this dude in charge of an Alien movie? Holy fucking shit. He understands sci-fi. He understands action. I would have expected it to be more like Aliens, but with still some good horror elements to it. But like once they canceled, I was like, oh, damn. But then when I heard about Alvarez taking over, I was like, okay, he's showing that he can do horror and tension. And then you get the blessing from Ridley Scott.
There you go.
And now you send out a trailer like this. This comes out on August 16th, so we're 5 months away from that. So I'm sure in the next month or so we'll probably get a full-on official trailer. But by all accounts, I thought this was a really effective teaser trailer. Like I'm fucking hyped for this shit. I knew this movie existed. I didn't know it was coming out this year. When I saw that poster and I seen 8/16, I was like,
I forgot too.
Whoa. I was like, okay, we're really moving along with this quickly. So really excited to see how this turned out. Great trailer. Really excited for it. Now, this next trailer, we're going a little video games. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to switch it up and go video games. It's been a hot minute since we've heard from Amy Hennig.
Yeah.
Creative director for Uncharted 1 through 3. She was with Naughty Dog for many years. She left the studio kind of unceremoniously around or just before the launch of Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I remember
there was some kind of like weird thing going on with Naughty Dog and some of the people, the higher ups there, and Amy Hennig was one of the folks that left the studio. She worked a little bit on a Star Wars game. I think it was Star Wars 1313.
They were working on, I don't know if it was 1313, but it was one of the other projects of Star Wars. I think
she was doing a story-driven one.
Yeah, because remember at one point there was not just.
I thought it was 1313, but maybe
no,
it wasn't.
it wasn't 1313. It was because that was so long ago. It was between. There was, let's see, who's been doing the Jedi ones right now? Respawn and another studio, because it was another like open worldish or something like that, like adventure as well too. I don't think she was on 1313. I'm pretty sure she was on that one.
She was on a Respawn one that got canceled.
But there was something. Yeah, she was working on a Star
You're
Wars
right.
one.
No, you're right. It was with Respawn,
which had me excited because like. Fucking Uncharted, like she's gonna be doing a narrative on a Star Wars game. Yeah, let's go. So
I was really excited when she was doing that, but we did find out that she is working on a Marvel game, and we got the first trailer at GDC 24 or 2024 during the Epic showcase, where they kind of jumped into all the things that Epic is working on, whether it's through Unreal Engine 5 or some of the partnerships they have. We do know that they're using Unreal Engine 5 and some of the same facial animation that we've seen in the Hellblade 2 trailers, which you'll see in this trailer looks fucking incredible.
Oh, boy.
But let's check out the trailer for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra.
Nice.
They're combing the streets, searching house to house.
If they arrest you two, they will take you to their headquarters, and you will not return.
I'm more concerned with the 6-foot cat man who's got claws that can cut through vibranium alloy. By my count, that makes 2 super soldiers loose in Paris.
3, counting you.
And that's 2 too many.
I'll be there before the sun rises. Before the Germans, before that American. The Eye of Force has been found.
Please, just stick to the rooftops. Be careful, stand Wasami.
When am I not?
It's better if I tackle this one alone.
You may encounter some obstacles.
That won't be a problem.
Our cat friend is definitely here too. By the look of things, he's not very far ahead.
The American boy is right on your heels.
Who the hell are you?
If you wanted us dead, we'd be dead. So what do you want?
Answers.
That's far enough!
Stay out of my way!
Stand aside!
I do not take orders from anyone!
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
Whoa.
Wow. All right. That's
that looks fucking dope.
That was beautiful fucking trailer.
Dude, that
was
game looks they're using Unreal Engine 5, so this is going to be a high quality looking game.
Yep.
We know it takes place during World War II, so everyone's wondering like, well, how can that be T'Challa if it's, way back then? This is actually Azuri, T'Challa's grandfather, as Black Panther. So it's a World War II era Black Panther. Steve Rogers, fresh off of Steve Rogers, a very young Steve Rogers.
I mean, hey, if you want to do a good game with some Captain America, punch some Nazis.
There you go.
Or Hydra.
Exactly.
Realistically, I guess.
And we know that this is going to be a single-player game. You will be alternating between all 4 characters in this game. You obviously have Azuri as Black Panther, Steve Rogers, Captain America, but then we have 2 original characters.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Nanali as a Wakandan spy embedded in occupied Paris, and Gabriel Jones, a U.S. soldier and member of a SHIELD team of Howling Commandos.
The Howling Commandos.
So we have, and again, you'll be swapping between these characters. There is no co-op, no multiplayer. It's a single-player experience using Unreal Engine 5. Now, look, this is a solid story trailer. We didn't see a lot of gameplay. It's just story stuff. But you're seeing how fucking good Unreal Engine 5 looks when it goes to like facial animations and details and cinematics and shit like that. Dope ass looking game again from creative director Amy Hennig, Grammy Award winning composer Stephen Barton, who's responsible for the Jedi series, Star Wars Jedi, Apex Legends, Titanfall. So you have a really good composer involved, a great creative director, a very talented cast of voice actors. 2025 looking hot right now for some big time MCU or Marvel video games, and Rise of Hydra has just jumped ahead to one of our most anticipated games of next year.
I need to see some gameplay, but man, I tell you what, World War II version of Captain in a video game and
punching Nazis and Hydra.
I'm Hydra and Red Skull. That's some because Red Skull's got to be involved clearly, but that's one of my favorite things and favorite villain-esque stuff in like all of Marvel. I love Hydra, love Red Skull, so I'll
be curious now. It looked like what we saw from the gameplay. I mean, not from the gameplay, from the story trailer. You kind of get an idea of like how these characters are going to be operating on the mission. It looked like Black Panther was doing a little bit more stealthy. Stayed at the rooftops. He's sneaking up behind enemies. Cap's kind of more or less getting into the mix, throwing throwing the shield around, throwing some haymakers. So we kind of get an idea of like how these characters are going to play. You're going to have some loud and proud missions where you're going in swinging and blowing shit up, and you're going to have some missions that are stealthy. So a good mixture of play styles that are kind of like exclusive to each character type. So that should be really cool. But I mean, Amy Hennig just has a way of just writing up really compelling stories.
Yeah.
And knowing that she's playing a part in an MCU or a Marvel story is fucking rad.
That's huge. I would like to, the last thing I'll say is like it'd be cool if like a mission, you got to do this. This is the A to B or whatever. But you get to choose who you play, so that means you can choose.
A little variety.
So like, oh, I played, because it would be cool to come in and be like, well, I played as Captain America. I went in swinging. And you're like, well, I played as the
kind of get that Baldur's Gate thing going. Like, oh, you went through this way. Oh, you discovered this.
But you could play through the level differently depending on the character. So that'd be kind of neat, right?
I'd get down on that for sure. Yeah. But dope ass looking trailer, looked really good. There was a lot of good stuff that came out of the GDC today in terms of like Epic. They showed a lot of creation tools coming to Fortnite that they showed when they made that deal with Disney. A lot of big things coming to Fortnite, but this was one of the highlights for sure that came out was Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra sometime in 2025. Cool. I'm guessing fall title, be a big title, and I'm excited for it. All right, Tone, we're moving on to our final trailer. I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't watched this yet. I'm watching it for the first time right now.
Okay.
Because I know you've got some things you want to say about it.
Yeah.
But let's check out the trailer for The Crow.
What's the first thing you liked about me?
I thought that you were quite brilliantly broken.
You feel like my person.
You feel like my person.
What's the worst thing you've ever done?
I saw things. I shouldn't have seen any of it.
Julie! Julie! Please don't do this!
When someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. And sometimes something so bad happens that the soul cannot rest. Until you put the wrong things right. You were given the power of a god. But you're running out of time to save her. I'm gonna kill them. Every single one of them. And killed you
Yeah, we did.
We have a problem. He came for us.
First impulse. Anger.
It's not anger. It's love.
Look at what you've become. You know that love promises only pain. You have no idea what hell awaits you. No, I do.
How many people have you loved?
I'll never be alone.
God, if that auto tuning doesn't tell you that times have changed right there, I'll tell you what. Basically, so Machine Gun Kelly and Jared Leto had a child, and it's beautiful baby boy. Listen.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, let me go really quick.
You go ahead.
I'm with Britt. I'd probably watch this. I like Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
I think he's an amazing actor, but I do understand some of your critiques that you were saying during this trailer, and I understand your perspective that you're about to give, and we'll also share perspective of somebody else who was involved with the first one. But I am going to step aside.
Yeah.
Tone, your thoughts on The Crow?
I kind of agree with Trick already a little bit. I think the acting looks a little, I don't know, subpar. And listen, I'm not just gonna say that because like I'm really like apprehensive with this movie. And my apprehension doesn't really come from the fact that like I'll probably still watch this, like because there are a lot of aspects of this that does look good. Like there are some potential in here too.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest stop comes from it overall, and this is somebody who, again, I've seen most of all the Crow iterations because, except for the first two Crow movies, the other ones are just like there's a new Crow. It doesn't have any connection. Where the first two do.
Right.
Brandon Lee, in his performance, and I watched The Crow last night. This is a big deal. I did watch The Crow last night specifically for this too. Because I hadn't seen it in a minute, and this you got to understand, this is coming from a place as somebody who doesn't really get to. I'm not very gothic. I'm not always into the gothic thing. I've never really been overly emo, except there was a period in time when you're that teen,
the 90s, man.
That 90s, Crow was one of those sort of things. I grew up on like 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson, very like industrial metal emo music.
Yep.
And this fits that bill. I mean, the original soundtrack had 9 Inch Nails on it as well, too. So, I'm seeing this, and I'm like, okay, there's a new Crow movie, and then they're like, well, this is Eric Draven.
Eric Draven.
And I'm like, wait, what? We're really going to, we're going to really remake Eric Draven's story? If you had just said, this is blah, blah, name Crow, right? Like, or just another, in the series, I'd probably been more like less apprehensive. I'm like, okay, let's see. We got Skarsgård involved. That's exciting. But like, even the modernization of this for me just looks a little too much. Like, where's the darkness? Where's the kind of almost gothicness look to it? Like, and I know there's some folks. I've seen people who were huge fans of the comics on both sides of the fence who have said the complete opposite things. Jeff of 7D fame and one of our pals here, he's really excited for it because he feels like there's a lot of ties in to the OG comic, the look, the haircut, and certain things like that as well too. Then I've got another friend who is also and is like, yo, don't touch the original. Like this doesn't need to happen.
Right.
He was a big fan as well too. And again, I got to tell you people, when I say this, I have 2 Crow blankets. I have 2 Crow posters that were in my room as a kid that I still own that are tied up and rolled up in somewhere in my home that I just moved, this year. And I had the soundtrack on CD. Of course, I have it digitally, and I just bought the fucking vinyl last year for that soundtrack because it's one of the best soundtracks of all time.
Yeah.
So I don't come into this very lightly on this. This does not appeal to me overall. There are aspects of it that does, but looking at it aesthetically, the acting and everything, and yeah, it's great that there's Ozzy, but like part of the allure of the first one was how the music tied in. We talked about that earlier with Spaceman.
Yep.
The soundtrack of the first movie really ties in so well to that movie.
It wasn't just there. It's because there was some connection between that.
Right, and you had iconic characters and memorable characters, even if it was a little bit campy because of the way they played archetypes. But I mean, you know, those characters like Tintin, T-Bird, these are great characters. You know, and you had a diabolical villain, not some. It's very blasé of me to say, oh, we've got another fucking rich, powerful white collar guy coming in here who's blah blah blah, and like that wasn't like that in the original Crow. And there's a lot of things about this that exactly fire it up. That's right. Which one of you Motor City motherfuckers wants to guess that this isn't loaded? Right.
To be fair, Danny Houston's an amazing actor, so him playing the villain is I'm kind of on board for that. I think he's a great actor.
I get it, but like I'm saying, like overall, like if you're going to remake the Eric Draven story, if you want people on board, you're gonna have to do something that's gonna really want to hook them, because by all intents and purposes, you might not know this, and I don't know if anybody does. This has not gone over well. No. Comments, down likes, and everything, because a lot of people feel like, and I said it before, there are some things that do not need to be remade.
Mm-hmm.
There are something, White Man Can't Jump is one of the first one that comes out to me. I'll never watch that trash.
Yeah.
We got one coming out this weekend that you're pretty serious about as well, too.
Roadhouse.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I'll stop there for now. I will watch this and see this. I know, and here, I want you to read this.
This is very important because this is the director of the original Crow, and he said something that really struck tone. Like, man, that adds a lot of perspective, and it adds more credence and understanding of why it's bothering so many people.
Right.
And especially when you hear this is wild. So this is director Alex Proyas. Shortly after the trailer got released, here's what he had to say. I really don't get any joy from seeing negativity about any fellow filmmaker's work. And I'm certain the cast and crew really had all good intentions, as we all do on any film. So it pains me to say any more on this topic, but I think the fans' response to this speaks volumes. The Crow is not just a movie. Brandon Lee died making it, and it was finished as a testament to his lost brilliance and tragic loss. It is his legacy. That's how it should remain. End quote.
And I got to be honest with you, after talking to Jeff and his perspective, and I also want to give a shout out to Blanco as well, too. They were given some really honest, fair perspectives, opposite of my opinion, and I was agreeing with them, and I think they're great. And I understand where they're coming from, and it was kind of leaning me now, but I never thought about that. And and I think I knew it somewhere subconsciously, and I didn't know how to say it, or it wasn't coming out right. But when I read that and saw that, it literally stopped me, and I had to take back and like, what the fuck? I didn't even that's it right there.
Right.
Because for one, there's never been another Eric Draven in movie media, at least, and we're talking just the movies right now at this point, not comics or anything. There's never been another Eric Draven, and all the Crow movies, to my knowledge, if I'm sure, City of Angels, Salvation, the one with Ed Furlong, that's awful, and the Crow series all had a tagline. They're not the Crow. Eric Draven is the Crow. Eric Draven is, for all intents and purposes, the Crow of Crows. He is the one. He is the number one. It'd be like redoing Sandman or something like that as well, too. You know, because there's a lot of similarities between the two in some ways. So, that completely like said, fuck it. Like I will see this movie, but like that's where my mindset is with that, is when I read that and thought about that, because that was part of the reason I think a lot of us were so in tune with this, because there was an actual tragedy involved. I grew up watching a lot of Bruce Lee films.
It's not just a movie, like it's the actual everything that happened with this movie.
Bruce Lee was huge in my household growing up, so when watching Brandon Lee get he had done some other roles, I can't Ricochet or whatever.
He had one with Dolph Lundgren that was fucking incredible. Was it something Showdown or something?
Right. But this was like the first like serious big breakout, and then he tragically died on it. And so, man, I got to tell you, like that kind of, to me, it's like one of those things where, like, should we really be touching something that's already gold? Like, what's the point?
Right.
And after watching it again last night for probably the gazillionth time, but the first time in a few years, it's a really hard thing to swallow.
Couple things here. Tricky says, "This is my Halo series. I may refuse to watch it."
I get that too.
And Britt says, "What if this movie brings in a bigger fan base and puts people onto the original so his legacy lives on more?"
That's
interesting.
That's a fair perspective, but I don't.
I mean, I could honestly, man, I wouldn't be surprised that happened, because I mean, look at, for example, and this is not related in any way.
Right.
Helldivers. Helldivers 2 comes out.
Yeah.
what's been the #1 movie on iTunes and on all these platforms?
Right.
Everyone's going back and revisiting Starship Troopers,
right.
which is by all accounts been kind of like forgotten. But looking at this, I think Britt makes a good point. People will watch this, they'll be like, oh, and if it's good or bad, whatever, they're gonna be like, well, now I gotta see what all the hubbub is about, and they go back, and the original Crow is a fucking fantastic movie. It's a great movie. And I think maybe that will draw some attention to it. Maybe that was missed.
And it might, but I'm also going to continue to be a little gatekeepy on it in some way. Like, I feel like it's more. Instead, I would rather see it where like somebody like me says, you know what, this isn't my Crow, and you know the kid says, well, I want to kind of go see it because I like Bill Skarsgård. It looks cool. Let me show you the Crow.
Let me show you cool.
Because to me that means more than like
that's fair.
To me that would have more weight in that as well too. So
Crash makes a good point. Shit, it did make you watch the original after a few years, Tone.
That's true, and that's true. But
there you go. Maybe there is a purpose.
We'll see. You know, like I said, I am definitely going to see this because I think it is at the very least. And usually it's pretty tough on me to go see these sort of things because I wouldn't watch White Man Can't Jump. I've been hit or miss on really how bad I want to see, you know, a Roadhouse. I won't watch Halo Season 2, and this one was definitely more emotionally. That was a time frame in my life where it was about finding out who I was emotionally.
Sure.
This was a movie that was part of that legacy of who Tone is. So that's why I take this so fucking personal. And I think that's why a lot of people do as well, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that whole era, the grunge music, the whole era, that was a very, like, angsty time period for a lot of people when you were my age. And that's the same people that are saying it right now as well, too. And while it seems silly maybe to younger folks or people this day and age, you don't really understand that until you've also got something that equates to that as well, too.
No, I respect that totally. And like I said, I think the thing about this trailer is like I do think it's a good. If I were to separate the whole fact that it's an Eric Draven story and then it's a reboot or whatever you want to go, remake or whatever of the original Crow, if you remove all that, I think it's a really good trailer. And I do think Bill Skarsgård looks like he's really into it. And whenever he's into a role, I know I'm going to get something good out of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I understand that perspective. And dude, when Alex Proyas mentioned that, you know, like look, Brandon Lee died putting out this movie, which is kind of like in a weird way, kind of what his character goes through. He died, but continues on and does his thing. It's just like, man, I feel like that is something sacred, something that maybe you shouldn't fuck with.
Yeah, that's
like I get that. I do, and I feel like that's also kind of the hard side of that. Is like it is such a good fucking story. Remove the fact that Brandon Lee got killed, and it's hard to do that. Obviously, it's a fucking awesome story, and so like I feel like if Brandon Lee hadn't died, I think this probably would have been received a little bit differently. I would have been like, okay, cool, I want to see something remake, but the reality is Brandon Lee did die making this his movie, and it's just like I feel like that kind of makes it off limits.
Yeah, I almost feel like again, and I keep saying this, like they've had other Crows after, and they haven't been received as well. I will argue with everybody that City of Angels is a good movie. It might not be Crow good, but Crow City of Angels is a good movie, and it's a direct sequel to
who was
the
the
original
Crow in that one?
Vincent Perez.
Vincent Perez, yeah. Okay.
Vincent Perez. He did a great job with what he had and to even shadow and be somewhat similar to Brandon Lee as well too. But they, you know, Sarah was a reoccurring character in that as well too. You know, I don't know whether or not like the story was it was as good, but it's still a good movie regardless. But none of them after have been they've all been pretty good. So like if you're gonna get if you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna do this again, like regardless if it's Eric Draven, Brandon Lee, Eric Draven, or any of that stuff, had it been now at this point in time, this all set up, but another Crow, people would have still probably gone back and watched that original Crow as well too.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? So we don't have to tarnish that legacy to still appreciate what came before as well too. And I think that sometimes that we lose sight of that.
I think that's a valid point. Like I said, I understand a lot of perspective, different views on this one. As somebody who watched the original and I enjoyed it, but it's not a movie that I was just like, oh my god, you know, it wasn't like, and that's how movies are. Some resonate with people harder than other ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, watching this trailer, I was like, okay, this actually looks pretty good. But again, if I watch this, I am going to go back and watch the original. And if it is shit, if I go back, I'm like, man, this new one is kind of shit compared to the other one. Then I'll probably have a stronger perspective. I'm like, okay, now I understand things a little bit more. But for the most part, if I'm looking at the quality of this trailer just at face value, I do think it looks really good. But add in everything else, so it's really kind of hard to justify. Like, why couldn't you just make it a different Crow?
That's all.
Why couldn't you just give him a different name? Why did you have to go back and redo that? So you could have taken every trope every story arc from that movie and just gave it a different name. And I think a lot of people have been like, that's okay. Jay Hill says, I think I've seen the Crow movie once, so I don't have any opinion about this remake. You can have an opinion about the trailer. You know, if it's something that you thought looked cool, awesome. You know, let us know what you thought of it, man. I thought it was a good-looking trailer, but, I mean, at the same time, I go back and watch the original, which I'm probably going to do now because you didn't want to go back. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Very quotable movie still, too.
It is. I do remember that. There was a lot of great lines in that movie. But again, I'll probably see this movie, and then I'll probably watch the original before I see this one just to see for the sake of comparisons. But I do understand, like, the whole side of it where, like, look, Brandon Lee died making that film, and that was his character, and he did a great job with it, and it's a great movie. You could have easily done this as somebody else. That part I do get 100%.
Soundtrack better be fucking solid.
Oof, man, I hope it is.
The auto-tune didn't really help that at the end.
All right, Tone, it's time. This is not easy, folks. This might be the most difficult meme debate we've had since we started doing meme debates. And we haven't done one in a while, but this one is bullshit. Tone pretty much told me this one's bullshit when I sent it to him the other night.
Yeah.
But let's get to it, man. It is time for a brand new, spanking new meme debate. Yes, it's time for a new meme debate, Tone. Fucking lame ass audio. I gotta get that for the welcome to the news.
Yeah, you gotta figure something.
I'll get something for the fucking news at some point.
We'll worry about it.
But don't. I came across this meme the other day, and I was like, oh man, I bet you this will piss some people off. And then I sent it to Tone, and he was like, dude, this is fucking impossible. It's bullshit.
And then what I do?
And then he goes over to the great Rohit Raju and said, yo, what do you think about this? And he said, impossible.
He literally said the same thing.
He said, this is impossible. So now I present to y'all this week's meme debate, and it's no slouch. You can keep one legend from each row of wrestlers. Row 1, you have Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. In row 2, you have Shawn Michaels,
the
Heartbreak Kid, the Ultimate Warrior, and Bret Michaels.
Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
And row 3, The Rock.
If you're some Sorry.
Randy Savage, the Macho Man, and The Undertaker. Keep them from what? Hey, man, you get to keep them, and everyone else goes away.
Yeah, Jay Hill, you get to keep them in, sleep.
That's it. You get to keep one legend from each row, and the rest go bye-bye. That look, Trick Even's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, man.
Talk amongst yourselves. Tone, let's hear your rationale. I'm going to just do mine right now, because for me, this wasn't all that difficult. First row, Nature Boy.
Woo!
Ric Flair. Second row, Ultimate Warrior. Love the Ultimate Warrior. He's a fucking maniac. And number 3, Undertaker. I loved his fucking style. I loved his presentation. It's fucking awesome, man. So those are mine. Ric Flair, Ultimate Warrior, and The Undertaker.
Hey, don't project how you feel about his acting. Before he was an actor, he was the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
Oh, wow.
The people's champ, the Brahma Bull.
Wow.
Show some respect.
Show some goddamn respect.
Damn right. Show some respect.
Tell her what's up, man. I bet you that doesn't fly at home.
It
That doesn't happen there. But let's close this down. Let's bring it over here so everyone can see it. But there we go, Till. There's your meme day. You can pick one from each row.
Right. Now, I did share this out on social media a little bit. I got some people commenting out there on the threads as well, too. There was people were jumping in that right away. This is very exciting for a lot of people. Some people were able to do it. Some of us feel like it's impossible. So if you're out there hearing this, post the live show. We'd love to see your comments.
Yes.
Choose row 2, 3. One more time before I start talking it out. Row 1 is the Hulkster, Hulkamania. 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin. 3 in that row is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Row number 2 is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Number 2 next up after that, Ultimate Warrior. 3 in that row would be Bret the Hitman Hart. And row 3, of course, The Rock. Then I can't see where your elbow is there.
Oh, sorry. That's
Macho gosh, Cheeto Pete's the Macho Man Randy Savage, and then lastly Undertaker. So This is where I'm at it, and I still don't know if I'm.
I want you to talk me through this. Talk me through your reasons.
Tomorrow could change, but here we go. So Hulk Hogan is one of my all-time defining good guys as a kid. That he is what got me into wrestling. He is the reason I love wrestling to this day. I got to meet him years ago, just even briefly, but it was still cool to do. Be able to say I shook hands with Hulk Hogan. He basically is the reason that WrestleMania, he is the reason that WrestleMania exists. He's part of the reason why wrestling is so popular even to this day, or broke the mold out of what it was outside of, just on local television and cable TV shows in the 80s. Then you've got, Stone Cold Steve Austin there. Stone Cold Steve Austin, even before he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, as stunning Steve Austin was, or even Ringmaster, which was kind of the bit before he was Stone Cold, just a great wrestler, good at cutting promos. But he helped usher in some of the best time of wrestling, which is the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars. He's got an incredible fucking promo that he did when he won King of the Ring and became Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'll back up on Hulk Hogan. Forget to mention the fact that he reinvented himself in the 90s as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, completely going villain.
Yep.
You're taking Optimus Prime and turning him into Megatron. Literally is what happened at that point.
No easy feat.
No easy feat. And to make it good and compelling and people care about it. And also, once again, changing the direction of wrestling and its popularity. And then, of course, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I mean, one of the greatest promo cutting crazy guys of all time. I mean, he is, he is, for a lot of people, which is why you chose him. He resonates with everybody. He was my
doorway into wrestling.
Right.
He was my intro to wrestling when I was like a young tyke.
High strung, just absolutely a character of himself.
Yeah.
Always selling extra.
Fearless with his promotions. I mean, he didn't give
all
a
that
shit, man.
stuff. You want to ride Space Mountain? Come and find it. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. You know what I'm saying? So if I had to choose one in row one. Hell.
Gun to your head, dude. You gotta choose one.
And a lot of people don't like Hogan.
Jay Hill says Ric Flair's out of ring stories are better than his wrestling.
That's a fair critique.
He was the real person in and out of the ring.
But he's also, of everybody on that list, got one of the most memorable moves of all time, which is the figure 4 leg lock. So, so let's show some respect, Jay Hill. Fuck, man, a lot of these guys did a lot for wrestling to platform and put in everybody's eyes, but oh my fucking God. Like,
I'm going to tell you, man,
this is so tough.
The move from hero to heel.
I don't think you can
discount that. I don't think you can discount that.
The thing is that, like, not all generations still remember that as much. And only a couple years later, when
they don't appreciate it as much as they should.
Great, fair. But Stone Cold Steve Austin was the guy to flip off the boss and tell him to go fuck himself. You know what I mean? Like, that was huge to you because he was the first, like, really true, like, anti-hero that became so over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, and you got Hulk Hogan, who transforms wrestling, brings Hulkamania, puts WWE in the map, makes it as big as it is, and then turns to Hollywood Hulk Hogan. God, I don't know on this one. This is so tough. This is fucking impossible. What legend would I choose from this? And I got to think. I'm overthinking it, and that's part of my problem. But
whatever he chooses, he's gonna change it tomorrow.
I'm gonna change it tomorrow because of everything. Man, I'm gonna probably say Hulk Hogan right now. That's tough because I'm hearing, as I'm saying that, I'm literally hearing the glass shatter right now, and I'm waiting for Stone Cold to come in here and just fucking kick my ass out of it. But I'm gonna say Hulk Hogan on this one, just because that's so tough. But we're gonna move on to row 2, otherwise we'll be here all night. So, row 2, between HBK and Ultimate Warrior, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Stunner.
I'm actually, that one's not too hard for me overall. I'm gonna say HBK. I loved HBK as a kid, and I know he's also not, or especially back then, was not the greatest person outside of the ring. And definitely went to bat for himself a lot. And I love and respect Bret the Hitman Hart for a lot of reasons because of where he comes from, his wrestling, his technicality. But as somebody who's very extroverted and, you know, probably has some form of high-strung ADHD, HBK spoke to me as a kid.
Yeah.
Just coming down on like the zip lines and all the crazy things, just wearing flashy, having the sweet like earrings and the zebra print, and coming out to I think I'm cute, I know I'm sexy, you know. So got to go HBK in that one. So that's fair. Yeah, I get it. My best friend Chance is also he's a big Hitman guy, so I get it. And then row 3, this is another tough one. This is another tough one. So I didn't really, and I'm going to start with Macho actually, because I didn't really appreciate him until much later in life.
Sure.
When you get to be, you know, older as an adult and a wrestling fan, you start to watch the older stuff and start to invigorate and understand different things. I didn't realize at the time, because I was such a huge Hulk Hogan fan, even when they were the Mega Powers, you know, how much, on a lot of ways, Macho Man was a better wrestler, better promo cutter, and some of the most cerebral promo cutting compared to everybody on that list. Now, you've got some great people that do some great promo cutting, Rock being one of them, clearly Stone Cold as well, too, and even Ric Flair. But the thing about Macho is that he was thinking like layers when he talked, and not just trying to get the crowd amped sometimes as well, too. But he put on one of the best matches of all time in a Mania with the Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. So a lot of respect for that. Great wrestler. So now that's what makes it harder for me, because even though as a kid I loved The Undertaker, he was great in his cameo in Suburban Commando even.
That's right, I forgot I forgot he was in there.
The Undertaker is you know,
I just loved his shtick, man. I love the everything about it. Like you said, the mysticism to the character.
It's so hard to have gimmicks last
that
like that. Yeah, like that mysticism, and even now to switch back from Dead Man Inc. Even that whole run with with him and Kane was so good. Like when he came out to, you know, with the motorcycle and doing all that stuff, like he invented himself good. And yeah, he's one of the all-time greats. Like he was just really amazing. And you love to see him just sit up out of nowhere, do the tight walk, you know, choke slam. I mean, choke slam is one of the greatest moves ever. And the tombstone pile driver. I mean, dude, come on. Like, the Taker is the man. And one of the most memorable entries is way too, even late in life. You hear the bells and you see the lightning and walking out. It takes him an hour to walk out there, and everybo's still cheering, going, "Yeah!"
That theme that plays, you're just like, dude, let's go.
You want to hear that organ, yeah. So, but for me, and he's one of my all-time favorites, and will always be, because he, again, it spoke to the ADHD as a kid and the smart assness and the whatever, and some of the bits and gimmicks. Like I'm not talking the actor, but I'm talking about
the wrestler.
I mean,
the entertainer,
the Rock. Yeah, like the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Like I love him being back in WWE right now.
Yeah,
it's been very entertaining. It feels very like old school to me.
Yeah,
like. They're certainly starting to make it feel like him and Cody have had some crazy stuff going on. I'm excited for Mania this year because The Rock is involved a little bit as well too. Like I get why people don't always get into The Rock, but I've just always been a super fan of him. His first few movies I loved as well too, and I still like him as an actor. I don't mind him, and I've been learning and I think realizing later in life that he might not be as great of a person as everybody has, or maybe he's shown himself. There's two sides to every story, but as a wrestler, when The Rock would come out and I'd hear that fucking kick, just like Stone Cold Steve Austin, though, because the two of them had some great feuds. And when The Rock and Triple H would go back and forth sometimes on the mic, that was some of the best stuff as well, too, because The Rock is quick-witted, man. He's quick-witted, and he will literally flip shit on you so fast you won't be able to think. And he still can do that. And that's The Rock we're starting to see again right now as well, too. So love or hate him as an actor, love or hate him even then as a wrestler. He was part of the Attitude Era. He's what made that era so great. I got to go with The Rock on that one. I can't help it. I'm too much of a fan. Always have been. That one is as hard as it looked at because the row is so good. That was going to be on the nose for me.
So you're just on that left row, top to bottom.
I guess so. I didn't even realize it. I tic-tac-toe. Did I win? Fuck. I almost kind of want to go back and change Hulk to Stone Cold, but
No, Hulk was that first row was tough. Like Hulk was like there when I was fully into wrestling at that point. Like I loved Hulk. He was just an incredible fucking presence. But it was Ric Flair that really kind of got me into it and showed me just how fucking wild these guys are when we give them a mic and just the way they wrestled, the way they fucking commanded the stage. I was like, I was like, man, this is fucking wild.
Yeah.
This is a real thing.
Yeah.
So Ric Flair was kind of like my entry into it all. The Ultimate Warrior, I just loved how fucking nuts he was. Like he was unhinged.
Gasped by the time he got out there because he sprints to the ring and then grabs the ropes. And
I used to feel that as he goes like, yeah, man, I get all fucking wound up for that shit. And then again, you go to the Undertaker. It was just that presentation, that fucking dude, to pull that off for as long as he did and to make it effective. Because I mean, that's easily when you involve mysticism like that, it could easily be one of those things like, I don't know about that. I mean, he just made it fucking work, and he had some dynamite moves, and he just embodied that role, and he played it to a T. And I fucking love the way his presence in the ring. So, I mean, I love Macho Man Randy Savage. The Rock, I think he's phenomenal as well. But man, for me, it was the Undertaker. I was just like, this guy is just so unique, and he pulls it off without like much effort. It seems like.
And I guarantee, like compared to all the ones I picked, like there's so many people that are going to be completely opposite.
I hope to God, dude, this is going to be its own segment on our YouTube channel, and I hope to God if you're watching this right now, fucking sound off. Let us know why our choices suck and why yours is awesome. Let us know the 3 that you chose. You can keep one person from each row, and the rest are gone forever. But I'm glad that you got into that deep dive. Like, I feel like there's the conversations behind these characters and the impact they had on all of us, one way or the other, growing up watching this stuff. That's the stuff that I want to hear, man. Those are the conversations I love to have. Trick says this is actually easy because there is no wrong answer.
Yeah, but man, it's
there's
like
some rivalries in there. There's some people that are gonna be like, you're full of shit, and there's no way.
Yeah, because Warrior's not overly received by all wrestling fans, you know. But like, you know, I loved Warrior growing up as well too. I was just like anybody else that just wanted to freak out, do a couple of bars of powder, and run to the fucking ring. So
it was funny because like last night I asked Tony, I go, should we add a 4th row to this or a 4th? And he was like, no.
This is way too hard.
This is too difficult as is. Don't add a 4th column. I was like, we can just add one more person each row. He's like, no, don't do it.
You know, because I can see like with The Rock, like some people would be like, you know, he kind of left and came, you know, did his own thing. He wasn't around. Whereas the Undertaker was around the entire time for the most part. He took some breaks, but you know, and Macho stayed in the industry for a long time as well too. But man, when you talk like peak wrestling, it always goes back to that late 90s, the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars of WCW, The Rock and Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan were all a part of that for sure. And you know, the other guys were to some degree as well. You know, of course, Undertaker especially, he was literally crucifying fucking Stone Cold on Monday Night Raw one time. And you know, of course, you know, throwing Mick Foley off of cages. So I mean, all these guys were even you know, Ric Flair was reviving the 4 Horsemen during that period.
That's true.
Really, and then Ultimate Warrior came back as OWN and WCW Nitro during that era as well too. So HBK was in DX while fucking, you know, Hulk Hogan. So I mean, honestly, these guys all touched the greatest era of all time in wrestling. But
that's a tough one though, man. That was a tough one. We want to get you guys and girls' thoughts. Let us know in the comments below. Who are the 3 that you're choosing, and let us know why.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Specifically, why you go with those choices. We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below. But Tone,
yes,
that's it, brother.
Well, first of all, don't forget you can now go to !merch if you don't mind.
Yeah, I got you.
I think it is right there, but I do at least want to show the shirt that you can get, this sweet Nick Cage shirt. If you want to buy some sweet merch, don't forget to pick yours up as well too.
The Nick Cage Cinematic Paradigm.
That's right. It's got a B&B shield in the back as well too. If you want something special, maybe made, something to consider, reach out. We can just put it on the store. We can do whatever we want. We
do a lot of things. We have full control.
Yeah, you want something cool out there, you know, check out the cream pie one that we've got out there as well too. But so want to make sure that you know, everybody gets a chance to peep some of that stuff as well too. But no, as always, we do appreciate you being here Wednesday nights. It's middle of the week. We're all tired. We got work week. Some of us drink a little bit. Some of us drink hardly any, but it is what it is. But we appreciate you being here. If you get a chance out there, you know, if you're on YouTube right now, Spotify, any of that stuff, like, follow, sub, leave a comments. If you're on YouTube, click that bell as well too for any of the stuff that we put out, those shorts. Get us on TikTok as well too.
Yep.
Check out our link tree. It's got everything in there. Please make sure we're trying to get out as much as possible as well too. Any of those, especially like on TikTok, if you're not just liking or commenting, but you're reposting, gets more eyes on everybody as well too. So we super appreciate that. But no, we can't thank you enough for everything that y'all do. I know, it's in Michigan, especially right now. Like who knows what the weather's going to be tomorrow.
It's 36 degrees today, man. It's fucking cold.
There's a lot of media that we all got to we consume out there. So if you can't catch us live, that's perfectly fine. If you're catching us up on YouTube later, Spotify, or whatever it might be, we super still appreciate that as well too. So thank you very much.
Tricky says, speaking of cream pie, Aldi has a couple different flavors.
Wow.
I'll be stopping at Aldi tomorrow.
I'll be having this out
6
there
inches
as well,
of
too.
snow on Friday.
That's the rumor. So once that
Taking
6
the day
inches
off,
of
playing
snow
Rise
drops,
of the Ronin. Playing Rise of the Ronin all day.
There you go. And as always, make sure to check out our good pals and partners. Check out 7 Dungeons every Monday night, 7 p.m., live with some yarn spinning, doing that D&D goodness, rolling that dice, even if it's digital. They've recently been doing a couple of funsies there. Jeff's been leading the team through some one-shots. He's doing a great job there as well, too. And then always throughout the week, check out Half-Ass Beer Review, dropping those sweet, sweet beer videos, beer news as well, too, throughout the week. Doing so good over there with his content as well, too. Make sure to give those guys some love. We appreciate that. So,
Tony, I think you summed it up pretty good. Again, next week we'll be talking about Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. We're gonna go see that tomorrow night. Might throw out a TikTok if I'm off Friday. If I don't go in because of 6 inches of snow, you can expect a TikTok. We'll also talk about that next week. We'll talk about Roadhouse, which drops on Amazon Prime this weekend with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. Directed by the great Doug Liman, so I'm trying to be optimistic with this. We've also got the first couple episodes we'll discuss of Three Body Problem, which drops on Netflix, and then more than likely I'll be discussing a little bit of Rise of the Ronin, which drops on Friday. But let us know what you guys and girls are up to. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on iTunes, make sure you hit that 5-star review. Same as on Spotify. We really appreciate that support. That helps us get in front of more eyeballs or ears or whatever you want to say. We really appreciate your support. For Fanboy Tone, I'm the Dude 79. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I'll see you Friday night for the Rage stream. Probably some more Helldivers too, because I want to rage playing some Helldivers too.
Sounds about right.
Everyone, if we don't see them, we'll see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Twitch. Stay safe, everybody.